Check, check, check. 1, 2. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to another edition of Hot Topics CELEB TV. I'm your host, DTeflon, on the MIC. Tonight, Sunday service is in session for another edition for Hollywood actors, producers, directors in conversation. I am your host, at the most, DTeflon on the MIC. Tonight, joining us in the building, the iconic, the legendary Ronn Moss from Player, Bold and the Beautiful will be joining us in the building. If you guys are just joining in, don't forget, of course, you can find us on iHeartRadio. Make sure you hit the subscribe button in the link in this bio. Go to HotTopicsCelebTV.com. If you guys hear this in the conversation, make sure you guys drop a message. Let me know where you're from. And I'm going to invite Mr. Ronn Moss into the building. Don't forget, of course, you can join us each and every Tuesday, Hot Topics CELEB TV After Dark, Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also you can join us, of course, this month, every Thursday for the Alliance Entertainment Indie Music Showcase. We'll be showcasing some of the hottest independent artists and musical acts all over the world. We'll be performing live here on HotTopicsCelebTV.com. Don't forget, make sure you tune in and follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, and Facebook. Also, of course, as I said, each and every week, Sunday here, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it is Hot Topics CELEB TV. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, my brother from another, the milk, chocolate, vanilla flavor man, himself, the icon, the legend, the infamous, the one and the only, Mr. Sexy of daytime, Mr. Sexy of rock and roll, Mr. Ronn Moss in the building.
That's one hell of an intro, I must say.
Welcome, my friend. Welcome to another edition, man. How the hell have you been, brother?
I've been great. We've been great. We've been creative. We've been busy. We've been just enjoying being home, for one.
That's the thing. I think there's an appreciation, I think, for most, especially in our business, that, you know, we're so used to being always on a schedule, always being on the road, always traveling. And I know for you, you know, obviously being in different time zones every other month, it must be refreshing for you to be back in your own bed.
No, it is great. It's we've really enjoyed it. Spending so much time overseas the way we have the last couple of years, living out of a suitcase, basically. But it's really been nice. We've been really fortunate. I feel very blessed that we're home and we're getting through all this.
So how was it?
Stuff.
How was it for you? Obviously, you know, being in Italy at the heart of the start of this pandemic and having to navigate through, obviously, you know, the lockdowns and just, you know, being in that environment. Were you ever in a situation where you felt scared being there?
Never. I've never been in any situation throughout this whole thing where I felt scared, because I know more that's going on than most people.
And we're going to get into that. So first, before we get into all of that, I want you there's not a person probably on this planet that doesn't know who you are, but for the new younger viewers that may be tuning in for the first time and not familiar, I want you to let them know who you are, where you're from, and then we're going to go from there.
Well, I can't totally be the one to let people know who I am. I'll tell you one thing, I really don't like talking about myself. So that becomes
like me.
It's a bit of a conversation stopper when I have to describe myself, because I can't just rattle off all the stuff. That's impossible for me. People kind of have to learn to know me slowly, I guess, or if they don't know me at all. I was on TV for a while.
Well, let's start with that. Like, for you, obviously you've had this iconic television and film career. How did you, A, get started in the film and television industry? And second, was that your first passion? Were you always wanting to be an actor?
No, the acting came along very secondary, thirdly in my life, actually. First, I was going to be a doctor.
Wow, okay.
Since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a surgeon. So I went through all the pre-med, studied throughout up through college, and then one day I would work in hospitals. I worked in hospitals for several years. Volunteering is part of what you had to do.
Okay.
And one day I had to make a decision. Do I go the academic 8 years, or do I go the creative route, the music, which was also very much a passion for me?
Okay.
And then one day I chose the music because I didn't know any happy doctors back then. Out of 10 doctors that I knew, 8 of them were morose and unhappy and suicidal. And it helped me decide pretty easily, maybe this isn't the way to go for me. Mm-hmm. So I went to the music, and music became a big part of my life. And eventually I formed a group called Player. We toured with a lot of great acts and had a #1 record called Baby Come Back. And we had some other top 10 songs, but that's Baby Come Back is the one that most people refer to when they think of that group now. And when I was in Player, the guy that owned our record company, Robert Stigwood, took me aside and said, "Have you ever thought about acting?" And I went, no, that's really not something I thought about, because I spent so much time getting to this point with the music, and we may have the #1 record and all that. Mm-hmm. And so years later, when Player wasn't doing anything and we weren't recording, we weren't touring, I thought, maybe I'll give this acting thing a shot. I'll take Robert's advice and try the acting. And so the next few years was basically nothing. Nothing but auditioning and doing the typical stuff that an actor has to do, going around, seeing many people, meeting all the casting agents, and getting little TV shots here and there. Mm-hmm. Maybe a movie that I went over to Europe to film for the first time, which was so cool. And then eventually, a couple of years later, a casting guy calls me in, who I had seen a couple of years before, and he has a new show, a new character, and the show's called The Bold and the Beautiful on CBS. And when I walked in, apparently they knew they had found their Ridge Forrester. I kind of knew as well. It just mm-hmm. felt right. It was one of those things and that doesn't happen very often, where you walk in and you see a bunch of smiling faces sitting across from you. They're usually very, very serious. And this was very cool, and I had an instinct that said this could last a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And little did I know that couple of years would turn into 25 years. And it's actually lasted longer, because people still overseas, they still very much remember me from that. So it's been over 30 plus years now. But that's kind of in a nutshell. I've gone full circle back to my music during this we'll go back to your first topic, was mm-hmm. the lockdown and all that, which we were in over in Belgium and Italy. Okay. We were actually in Italy and Belgium most of last year when all this stuff started. And I just turned to music. I turned to making music on my own, playing all the instruments and singing everything, and just seeing what I could do, just being creative. And it turned out really well. I released another album, another collection of songs, some of them mine, some of them ones that I've always loved.
So for you, obviously, already having such success in the beginning with your band and traveling the world, and obviously, I mean, I've been in that situation where I've been, as a musician, performing in front of 30 to 40, 50,000 people. Did you find that for you, when you stepped into the acting world, was it easier preparation for you, not having those nerves in front of casting directors and, being in a room, compared to being in front of 50,000 people in front of a live audience?
Being in front of 50,000 people in an audience when you're prepared, which we were as a group, felt great. There's nothing like that feeling. Mm-hmm. Playing music for that many people, the energy in a environment like that is just absolutely amazing. Going to the TV show, where you have basically cameras in front of you and the crew, it's not nearly that kind of feeling, but it's a whole different technical challenge. For me, it was the technical challenge of remembering the freaking dialogue, the
I'm gonna get that.
massive amount of dialogue every day. That's what usually wears everybody down. And it did me too. It did me too. At 6 months, I had a meltdown. I had a meltdown where I literally couldn't remember what you just told me. And I would tell the stage manager, what's my first line? Okay, she'd say it. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. I can't remember. I can't. My brain had just shut off. It was done. And the director very kindly, this big booming voice over the microphone, Ron, we're going to take it one line at a time if we have to, but just relax and we'll get through it. I had 20 pages of dialogue that day. So I got over that hump, and then my brain acclimated. But it's a process. So it's a whole different. There's really not the high involved in filming a TV show that there is doing a concert. You don't have that direct energy of performing like that. It's a different ball game.
Oh, I know. But I mean, for you, like, obviously, you know, I mean, the daytime, you know, I'm a primetime guy, as you know, and I've always had so much respect for all of my friends like yourself, you know, in the daytime world where, as you said, you know, I don't really know how the F you do it with all that dialogue and having to remember that many lines. For you, like, what was your preparation as an actor, you know, in retrospect to eventually picking up the memory aspect? What did you have a certain technique that you did as an actor to try to remember, or did you go back to sort of like me? I know for me, it's like, you know, with music, like playing music, I was never a good reader per se in retrospect of like taking a friggin', you know, and reading the notes. I was all about ear memory. Like I could hear something and you could play it back to me and I would just do it. And I remember I for probably the first 15 years of my professional career as a musician, like I didn't know how to read a lick of music. I just went based off of memory. For you, was the preparation, like in doing the memory, did it come from more from being a musician, or did you have a different technique in order to learn how to pick it up?
I think my brain just kicked in and was able to absorb more than I did before.
Okay.
Because I would always struggle to memorize things. It was an issue for me from the beginning when I started acting. I always went, I don't know if I can really do this because there's just too much stuff. And then I chose the profession where there's the most dialogue. I'm not even a guy. I'm a guy of few words, believe it or not. I know we're talking and all out. I can talk freely.
No, I know. You're a man.
I'm a man of few words. I'm not the one that walks into the room and just starts talking. I'm more of the observer. and I'm the listener.
Devin's more of the social type, I think, out of the two.
She can just walk in and keep talking nonstop.
Yeah, definitely.
Did I say nonstop?
I love you, Devin. Miss you. But for you,
I think what happened is my brain just got acclimated to it, and some people will record their dialogue and have it playback, so they get what you said. They get an audio feedback of hearing it. I don't do that. I just go internal. For me, it's just totally internal. I look at the dialogue, and I just, like a sponge, I just absorb it. But what the biggest challenge was finding the rhythm of it. So the rhythm meaning I was too tired to look at everything the night before, so I would have to wake up and look at the dialogue in the morning. And then what made it work was rehearsing in the makeup chair with my scene partners. So while we're all up there getting makeup, whoever's sitting, usually the girls are getting more makeup than the guys, so they were sitting there, and I just walk over and we just start running the lines. And it's very fresh that way. That's very fresh.
Devin says she resents that.
She resents that. She resents that she talks all the time.
So for you, like obviously, stepping into this legendary, iconic, show and this iconic role, did you feel for yourself, obviously, after learning the type of character that Ridge would be, and obviously being sort of the captain of this moving ship, did you ever feel for yourself, especially like, stepping into your, first major television role, did you feel a bit of pressure for yourself that you had to not fuck this up?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. For the first few years, there was definitely a pressure because we didn't know the feedback. We didn't know who was watching. We just did it
Hmm.
for the cameras that were there. So we didn't get a real back and forth feeling other than we started to get some fan mail and all that. But it wasn't an instantaneous thing. There was a huge delay between what we did to what was on the air. And it made it it was strange. It's almost like you did it for different reasons than usual performing.
Hmm.
It's not a natural environment being in a studio all day. There are times when I would be in there and I wouldn't see the sun at all during the day. I wouldn't see any daylight. It was just in that building with all that equipment and stuff. But it's a strange world. It's a
So
strange
how
world.
for you, like, so how did you, like, obviously, as I said, stepping into the daytime world, did you ever see, like, I mean, even in your own, I mean, from the first day you stepped on set and the first day that, you filmed your first scene, did you know that this show would become as iconic as it has become in all these countries and being on television for so many years?
No, I don't think there's any way that any of us could have known that. I think that happening became a big surprise and a big plus for the success of the show, obviously, especially overseas. To have it be exposed overseas more than any other U.S. show had ever been
Hmm.
was truly amazing because it provided a vehicle for us to go over and film in wonderful, amazing atmospheres like Italy and Australia, and it was very cool, and it's made us stand out from all the other shows that were out there, the other daytime shows in America. There were, I think, 11 or 12 of them back when we started, and we stood out. We stood out because we got so much more exposure, and it was very cool, very cool.
Who was your first, like your very first scene? Who was your first scene partner?
I believe that was with the modeling. It was a whole fashion show. We opened with me coming through the door and into the room where all the models were, my father and brother, and we were about to go on stage with the models. So it opened with a fashion show, which was great because it set the tone of this being a fashion family, fashion designing family, and it kind of explained who we were all with all this action and all the models and stuff. So it was very cool.
So for you, like obviously, like there's been so many iconic friends of ours as well. From Catherine Kelly Lang, John McCook to Windsor Herman to Jacqueline McInnes Wood, who have you guys made such a natural fit as a family. Did you know right away that you were going to have this chemistry? And even with, for example, with Catherine, who I love, like, did you know in that moment, the first time you worked together, that you guys are going to have this amazing love story and develop into something that became so iconic in television?
We really didn't know all that. We knew we'd be involved somehow, but we didn't know how because it actually started very different than the way most people will remember it. The people that actually watched the beginning of the show knew that I was involved with another girl, another woman named Caroline. and that Brooke would come into my life. She was a separate story for quite a while before she came into my world of the Foresters. But once Catherine and I started working together, yes, we could tell. We could tell that there was a great chemistry and that we were going to have a lot of fun with this. She was obviously beautiful. She was very spontaneous. She was a wonderful energy to work off of. And we wound up with, for me, 25 years of wonderful stuff between us that I'll never forget.
So for you, like obviously, there was a back and forth history between, Hunter Tylo's character and Catherine's character. For you, like if you were to make the executive decision and be in charge of the writing, who did you feel that Ridge should have ended up with?
I'm going to say with all certainty, both of them.
Great answer.
Why would I not want both of those wonderful, amazing women? They were, they would always accuse me of being a yo-yo and a ping pong ball back and forth, back and forth. And then it hit me like an epiphany. Mm-hmm. What was wrong with that? Nothing.
Nothing.
That's
a hard balance, man. Catherine,
it was.
That's a hard balance, man.
No, it was fun. It was fun. We just keep going back. And the fact that we were able to sustain that for 25 years is amazing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely amazing. But it hit me, this epiphany of what's wrong with just being that typical guy answer? Can I have both of them? But it was funny. It was funny. But I loved working with both of them. They were both outstanding, beautiful, very different in their characters. Mm-hmm. And that's what made it wonderful for me. So they were both very easy, very professional, extremely professional. And the whole cast was a big family. That was the difference of B&B to a lot of the other shows that were going on. Many of the other shows were corporate owned, and our show was a family owned show. And that made a big difference in the way everybody responded.
And obviously, back then, daytime was the mecca. It was the thing to be in the sense of, as an actor for fans. What would you say for yourself, like being in the daytime days of the heyday, the differences between when you started and towards when you decided to leave it?
The differences, boy, things, we were a lot more seasoned at the end, yes. But we still did it with a daily passion. That held over because you would change things along the way because to keep myself interested. I can only speak for myself, my own experience. To keep myself interested, I would change different things and add certain things that the writers would pick up on. That was a big part of doing a show like this. When we would just throw some little thing in, the writers would go, I like that. I'm going to use that. So they would start using that. For instance, when I called her Logan, I just called her by her last name, Logan. And I just said, come here, Logan. And it caught on and they started writing it. So she became my Logan. And they did that with several different things for all of us. We would all, one interesting thing, I'll get back to what you asked.
Yep.
One interesting thing that happened, and I'll put this to Bill Bell specifically. When Bill would write our show, he would write things that would very often mirror our real lives. Now, this is our real life that nobody maybe knew was going on. But Bill would write something, and we actually started thinking, do they have a microphone or a camera or something in our dressing rooms to even know what we've been sharing with each other? And they would write something personal about, and they would incorporate it into the story where it got a little creepy because we go, how would he know that's going on in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So he would mirror our real lives, which was weird because we thought we were keeping everything very separate. We would come in and very often you didn't say anything to anybody else. But Bill was writing something that was mirroring your real life, and you're going, okay, so he's either tapping into some consciousness that we're not even aware of, which I think Bill actually did because he was an amazing creative weaver of stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it creeped the actors out. A handful of us would get together and confer and go, what do you think's going on? What are we being listened to? Are we being watched in our outside lives? What's going on? But that was very funny. But what changed between the beginning and the end? There wasn't that fear factor as there was in the beginning, which was great because it's hard to function when you're just flat out under stress and under fear of not remembering your lines and am I hitting my marks? Is everything going okay? Once you get over that, then you can start developing a character with some depth.
So you're speaking of fear factors. So like for you, what did you find more difficult? The remembering your lines or the kissing scenes and love scenes? And for you, like what was that like your first experience? Did you ever feel any nerves in the sense of, because of having to do those? I mean, I know how it works, but for the audience that doesn't know the way the camera stuff, everything that you see on TV, as you said, it looks all sexy when it's all done. But as you know, like you got a boom mic here and a thing here, like it's not as sexy as it is when you're putting it together. Did you ever feel a different type of pressure between learning your lines or the love scenes or the kissing scenes?
Doing scenes like that was a pleasure, actually, at least for me. Mm-hmm. And I say that in a way of, yes, you have to learn all the technical stuff to do, and you have to be able to let go of all the technical stuff that you now know to make it real, to make it look as genuine and as true and honest as you can.
Devin said she taught you how to kiss.
She retaught me how to kiss, yes, because I was. Let's save that story for after.
Okay.
Let me keep going.
Yeah.
With this.
Okay.
It was a pleasure doing those scenes, and I'm going to give much credit to Catherine and to Hunter for making it that easy to do. Mm-hmm. We all three of us had a wonderful chemistry together, and it made it a lot easier than I imagined it would be. Some people, maybe it's not the same. You might be paired up with an actor where you just don't feel a connection to them at all, and things can get really difficult, and maybe it's believable, maybe it isn't. Mm-hmm. It's happened with a lot of very well-known actors where they just get paired up with somebody and you do not feel the connection. We did. Hunter and Catherine and I, and some of the other people on the show who we were paired up with, we had a great connection. And that was, I count myself as completely and totally fortunate and blessed to have had that connection. That's one of the reasons.
I think with Catherine, you can have. I mean, I adore her so much, and I think that with her energy is such an infectious, because it's like, you before you meet her, you don't, a lot of times you don't know what to expect, as you know, in our business, of like what someone's going to be like, and then when you do, and with her, it was like, it's always like a breath of fresh air when you see her. Like she reminds me so much similar of one of my, closest friends in the business, Sharon Case. It's like when you're in their presence, you just sort of forget whatever bad shit is going on in the world or whatever, because they always greet you with such an energy. So I can totally understand of like how it was so obviously so easy. And I guess, as you said, very lucky and fortunate for you to be able to work with somebody, because obviously, as I said, there's not everyone you're gonna have that chemistry with, and obviously in daytime, when you're doing these love scenes, which are so vital to the storytelling of daytime soaps, you got to have that chemistry per se on television, because the audience will know if it doesn't work.
And we actually, I say we, me, either Catherine or Hunter, and whoever was directing that day, we would come up with ways to push the envelope and see how far we could go with those scenes. And we had some fun times because we would push it to where CBS would send down a memo going, please don't do that again. Or they would try to edit it in some way where they would send a note. I'll give an example. Hunter and I had a very passionate ripping the clothes off up against the wall type of moment that Susan Flannery was directing that day.
Okay.
So we walled off part of the set because Hunter was going to be basically topless. And we made it as genuine and heartfelt as we could, but there was a very sort of big, passionate moment. And CBS freaked a little bit because they thought it looked too rough. They thought it looked too raw. And so, but we kind of strove to get those kind of reactions because I think the fans liked it. The fans liked that it was just really over the top for a moment, right? And now I'll give you the story that Devin referred to, where she did reteach me how to kiss. The way Catherine and I would kiss, I'll use Catherine as the example. We made it a stage kiss,
okay,
but we made it a very effective stage kiss.
Explain to the audience. I don't know what that means.
There was no tongue involved. There was no French kissing involved. We made it look like there was, but there wasn't, right? So I got used to those stage kisses, even though Catherine and I made it look really good. So did Hunter and I. So I would come home and still kiss like that because that's what I was used to. So when Devin and I first got together, she literally went, "That's not a kiss. This is a kiss." And she kissed me really deep, and I went, "Whoa, I have forgotten how to kiss. I've gotten so used to that I've been doing for years that I didn't even think about it." And she just went, "No, that's not a kiss. Let me show you how to kiss." So what I had to do, the funny thing, I went back to Catherine and I sat her down one morning before we started rehearsing our scene. I went, "Kelly, let me tell you a quick funny story." And I gave her a brief thing of what I just told you. I went, "Would you be okay if we really kissed from now on instead of doing the fake kiss like we have done?" And I didn't know if she would. She could have gone, "No, I'd rather keep doing what we've been doing." She went, "Yeah, that's fine."
I love Catherine.
Just like that. She just went, and I went, "Really? Okay, then cool. Then I don't have to go home and separate myself out and relearn how to kiss and get chastised by my new wife and all." But Kelly was very cool, very cool.
And for you, like, how do you, like, I know with certain people's preparation, and then having to turn that switch off. Did you find it difficult to turn off Ridge Forrester from Ron Moss at the end of the day?
For 2 years, yes. For the first 2 years, I did. I took all the emotional stuff home with me. And it churned my stomach and made me sort of feel a little sickish at home. And I went, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep carrying around this much stuff. If we had a really emotional scene, I'd leave the studio and I'd be still there at home with that same thing. And I went, I got to separate it. The mind goes strange things, especially depending on how intense it is. And we had some intense moments. So I made a decision. When I walk out of that studio, I can't tell you one word I just said during the day. And I can't tell you anything that happened that day. So I did separate it out very, very well because I had to. But it worked. It worked for me. I could
How did
come
you,
and get into Ridge's clothes, and then I go home in Ronn's clothes, and I'm okay.
obviously, I mean, we both know this in a sense for, being on TV and being per se number one in, of course, in these, I mean, for you more than me, because you've done obviously a lot more love scenes per se. How did you find that balance hard to do and also be in a relationship and have that trust between you and your, like, even per se if it wasn't Devin, but just in general, like that trust between you and your partner, did you find it hard balance for you as an actor when you first started?
When I first started it, and throughout my acting career, I've been lucky enough to have the people in my life be very understanding what it is I do. I'll speak specifically for Devon. She was very understanding because she herself had done many love scenes and all in her acting as well. So she knew exactly what was required and how it was and what the vibe of all that is. And I would tell her exactly how things were, and maybe she got hooked on watching the show like a fan, so she would see it after the fact. And she knew Catherine very well, and it was very, very good. I was very lucky, very blessed to have. But I can tell I have other friends who
Didn't.
were not so lucky, and that their spouses, whatever, girlfriend, boyfriend, married, or whatever, were not very accommodating.
I'm one of them.
And they became deathly jealous, and that would make it very, very difficult.
Trust me, man. I know.
I can't even imagine being able to work with that kind of
You don't.
environment. That would be horrible.
You don't
It
want
would be
to.
horrible.
It was for me after going through that myself. It was because it comes to a point where like you don't even know how to function because you're constantly it perfects even your performance because you're constantly thinking in the back of your mind like, if I hold the person's hand, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing my job, like, and if you can't accept this, then maybe we shouldn't be in this situation. But it's like, you get the ones, of course, it's that they have no problem being in the situation when it comes to being by your side on the red carpet, but then want to grill you when you're not, like, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, I'm able to provide you with the lifestyle and the things because of my career and profession in this business, but I'm supposed to change who I am because you have your own insecurities, but that's a whole other subject. But for you, like,
what you just said is perfect. It's their insecurities, not yours. It's not even your real actions. It's all their projections and stuff onto you. So that's something they have to deal with. It's horrible for you when your spouse is jealous, and you have to walk around with that every day.
it takes a toll, man. It takes a toll.
It does.
It definitely takes a toll because you, exactly where you would say, you had a hard time leaving things at work. For me, it was like you're already under enough stress at work because of the situation, and now you got to come home, walking into your own house after a long day of shooting, and feel like you got to walk on eggshells in your own home because you're like, you don't want to, like, it's like, and I think the beauty about it for you and Devin is that, like, her being a sex symbol when you guys met, still now, and being, the top of the game of, Playboy and everything else, you already living that rock and roll lifestyle. It was almost like a match made in heaven where you both have an understanding of, like, okay, like, this is our job. This is what we do. And it's either you accept me for who I am, but I also think the beauty about it is that when you both are in the business and then when you come home, you really don't even sometimes even want to talk about the business. Like you spend more time probably. I mean, I don't know about if that's the case with you guys, but like I know for me, like when I've dated somebody who's been in the business, I find it easier to have, yes, you can talk about things and talk about, projects and whatever, but you more want to spend that time really getting to know each other rather than focusing on the business stuff. It's like, okay, that's what I do during the day, and at the end of the day, I'm shutting it off. Was that the case for you?
I would come home and I would be talked out. I had said my quota of words for the day. And I definitely believe that a lot of men have a quota of words. I know I do. And Devin doesn't, I don't think she has a quota of words. I'll get back to the funny part again. But she would want to talk. She would want to talk about stuff. And I just had to get to studying before I got too tired to look at my next dialogue for the next day. And I literally didn't, I would just come home and quickly go, yeah, we did this today. And then I go to my work. But we didn't talk about a lot of stuff about the show because I just basically didn't have time. I had to prepare for the next day. But it's everything I could do to see my kids for an hour, hour and a half, put them to bed, and then go on to get as much stuff as I could get done before I went to sleep. But getting back to you having a mate that didn't understand what you did, that's got to be incredibly hard. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
4.5 years, man. And then I had to make a choice. And it was like, after I made that choice, it was the best choice for me that I had to make. It was the hardest choice I had to make to walk away. But there comes a point, I think, in everybody's life or any viewer that's watching this in a relationship where it's like we have a tendency to sometimes lose ourselves for the purpose of thinking that, compromising is love. And I don't believe that, that you should have to compromise your happiness for anybody. And I think that, when you take that moment to sort of say to yourself, okay, the way that I look at relationships, it's like, I don't really believe in them. I believe in what you and Devin have. And what I call what you guys have is not a marriage. It's not a relationship. It's an empireship. And an empireship to me is where you've got a king and a queen. And where a relationship, it's more of a prince and a princess. And sometimes even a king and a princess. And if you look at like any gladiator movie, when it comes to them trying to, like that older father is about to die. And he's looking for someone to take over the kingdom. And the prince, who people think is in line to take the roles of the reins, he wants to have that power. He wants to have that prestige. But if you look at every gladiator movie, they always turn to the warrior, the guy that's willing to go into the game and fight and defend, and he earns the respect of his peoples. And I always say a relationship is similar, where you have to have a foundation where you have a king like yourself who goes out into battle, who goes out into the workplace, and he's doing his thing. And while he's doing his thing, the queen, being Devin, is the one that holds down the kingdom at home. She knows, okay, while my king is out in battle, I'm strong enough to be able to hold shit down. And Devin, who is an entrepreneur, has made her own career, made her own name, her own path. Where you find in this business, like in my situation, where you can try to explore of teaching the person the business, they can seem like they're supportive of you in your endeavors and what you're doing, but unless they've really been in the business themselves to know the sacrifice, to know what it takes to maintain a level of longevity and worth ethic, and just the sacrifices that you have to give up, you spend more time defending yourself in those type of relationships than you do in actually being in it. And that's what, for me, it was a constant of explaining. And I was just like, okay, when you have as I said, a queen like Devin, she's strong enough to say, okay, I don't need to know everything. I don't need to be in the mix of everything because I've got my own shit and they're trying to make their own way. And I think a lot of times people in our business, why they don't work, as you say, is where you find certain partners who are not in the business, where they don't get it. They don't get the sacrifice. They don't get the fact of where, you have to have a life outside of me. But a lot of times people, they live their life through you, and I think that's where the pressure comes.
The way I look at life is it is a big lesson for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn your lessons. That's why certain people come into your life. That's why certain people take themselves out of your life. It's very often for a reason for you to learn a lesson one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And those lessons aren't always wonderful, pristine moments.
Mm-hmm.
They're very often extremely painful. But nevertheless, they are lessons. And if we are aware and we accept that people come into our lives and people go out of our lives to interject different things, I've become much more aware of that. Devin has too. And we have realized that we have made it possible for a lot of people to take themselves out of our life because
mm-hmm.
we don't want that negative energy around us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want to surround myself with positive, wonderful, loving people because I think we need that. Not just we collectively as a human race, we need that now more than ever. So learn those lessons, and whatever we've all been through, what you and I talked about with the acting, with the relationships, they've all been lessons for us, and we've all had our chance to learn or
mm-hmm.
not. You either do learn that lesson or you'll continue to attract those kind of people until you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Many people I know have gone through the same relationship with different people.
Mm-hmm.
And it always turns out the same way. So I look at them and go, well, what do you think is the common denominator?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be you?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be the way you're not learning something? You're not changing something about yourself?
Well, as we talked about on your show, I remember when I said to you, like everything in life is a choice, and you can either choose to be happy, choose to be negative. You can choose to be with the right person because, and I get it. People, they make, as we call, mistakes. But I always believe that it's only a mistake if it happens once. Anything after that is a choice. And if you keep making the same bad choice, exactly what you said, is it them or is it you, because you're in control of what you allow and what you accept? Would you agree?
I would say you have to definitely look internally at your own motivations for things. And if you keep doing the same function and getting the same reaction, that's kind of a form of insanity because you keep expecting a different reaction when you're acting the same way. Mm-hmm. So you have to change the way you're acting. It's cute. I'm watching a lot of people's comments going by.
For you, I mean, what would you? I mean, obviously, as I said, you guys have had this beautiful love story, and you've been able to make it work. And obviously, when other people in our industry haven't, what would you say? Advice would you give to someone stepping into this business? The advice, not only first, it's going to be a two-part question. One, longevity in the business itself as an actor and a musician. And second, what advice would you give for someone stepping into the business who's in a relationship, longevity to make it work, being in the business?
Everybody has to find their own path. It's very important to discover your own path. Now, if you are emulating somebody else in the moment, mm-hmm. You haven't found your path, emulate somebody who you admire. Mm-hmm. By emulate, I mean do similar things that you think they would do or you know they have done. Find your own path. Everybody has to find that creative way for them. And that's not just in the work environment, that's in a relationship as well. You have to look deeper than just going out on a date with somebody. That's the surfacey part of it. You have to be honest. For me, I want to be as honest and truthful as I can. I can't stand bullshit. I'm sick of bullshit in any manner because I see people not being truthful, not being honest in the way they do certain things. And I go, how do you get by day to day?
Dude, as I say, it didn't take coronavirus for people to be wearing masks. I think that a lot of people have been wearing masks their whole life, and now we're just seeing it with fabric on. Like, that's the difference.
Yeah, a lot of people walk around with that stuff that they just surround themselves with bullshit. And I can pretty much see it quickly now. I think we can. But I don't, I live my life like the golden rule. It's very simple. You do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And don't bullshit people. And your bullshit meter gets fairly attuned to other people doing it to you. And it's like I can instantly go, okay, I can see what you're doing. And, nice meeting you. Bye-bye. Just being honest. In your work situation, in your human situation, in your relationship situation, just be honest. That's the best thing you can do. Be yourself. There are too many other people out there trying to be something else other than themselves. You can't possibly be all of those other people. And you can't expect to be everything for everybody. You're never going to please everybody. As many amazing, wonderful people that I have had in my career out there who have followed me over the years and have hopefully liked a lot of things that I've done creatively as an artist, there's still people that will slam you, will look at you and go, what's with the hair? Getting kind of gray, isn't it? You're looking kind of old there. What's with this stuff? And it's
that's gonna be my next thing. Like, obviously, like the business has changed for all of us. Where before there was this sort of mystery as performers, where whether you're a musician or an artist, where like there wasn't that accessibility. And when you saw your like artist or you saw your actor, there was almost a euphoria around it, where you're like, oh my God. And then now, because of social media, where it's allowed people to connect with their artists and their favorite actor and whatever, and follow their careers, but also there's the dark side of social media that we live in now. How do you, obviously being a public figure and having such a wild world fan base, how do you deal with in those situations the trolls, the people that want to talk shit, and use the social media platforms for those type of purposes? How do you deal with that?
I don't really deal with it. I keep myself separated from it because I want to gravitate to the people that are positive, that are creative, that are putting out a harmonious vibe into the world, rather than talking behind somebody's back, coming up with a bunch of criticisms for somebody. If I have a criticism for somebody, I'll keep it to myself. I'll keep it to myself unless they ask me, Ron, could you give me a critique of this or tell me what you think of this? And then I'll give them my opinion. Otherwise, I just keep it to myself because it's not relevant to have to go online and criticize anybody for anything. I don't see the purpose in all that. I like to put out a positive vibe in pretty much everything I do. If you have something bad to say, shut the fuck up.
And that's the thing. Me and Sean Cannon, we talked about it, you know, in the fact that people are so desperate to find their 50 minutes of fame. And when you got places, for example, like Twitter and even just various social media platforms where, you know, we've been, and we talked about it, you know, before, in how the world has become this divide, you know, between good and bad, almost like a superhero, you know, or like wrestling. You've got your villains and you've got your, you know, your baby faces, you know, and then you know, where people have now been given this opportunity to express their opinions when you didn't ask for it and say these negative things. And exactly that, I'm just like, my whole thing is that if you got shit to say to me, like you don't like Ron, you don't like me, you don't like what we do, you don't like my face, you don't like his face, there's two options. You can either click on follow, problem solved, or you can meet me in the street. like you can meet me in the street and we could talk about this. We could talk about this, you know, but I feel that like now everybody has, you know, a lot of people use these platforms that, to me, like, where there's, I mean, yes, we couldn't be doing what me and you are doing right now 10, 15 years ago. But in many aspects, I mean, to you, do you feel, especially in our business, do you feel that social media has hurt the business or made it better?
I think both. I think it has provided a platform for people to communicate more, but I also feel that social media has become a huge and totally engrossing distraction from life. I feel that people have gotten so involved in the social media and the phones and the stuff that they have lost
Communication, real communication.
being aware of the life around them and real human contact. Many people are not comfortable with that anymore. They just want to be online texting and emailing and going on Instagram and stuff. It's a platform for, yes, communication like we're doing now, which I think is great. And we can share it with a lot of people out there. Someone said, no cursing, Ron. It was funny. I saw that.
This is Hot Topics. Everything is off the record, so he can do what he wants on the show.
But I think it's a huge distraction. A distraction from what's going on in the world. It makes people less aware. In one way, you can become more aware of what's going on, but another way, you become engrossed in the surfacey stuff of social media. Just what does somebody look like? What are they wearing? What celebrities doing this? I'm not a fan of that. And yes, I'm one of those people that people may have looked at in that way, but I don't propose it. I don't recommend that. I don't even recommend people listening to a celebrity for different things because,
like politics and shit.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what's really going on, but we get to where we listen to somebody just because they're popular or they're a celebrity, and it doesn't mean that their attitude is right. So you have both between social media. You have the distraction element, and you have a possibility of a wonderful new communication opening up, which what you're doing right here. You have your own podcast, and we're able to share some things with people, and they can take it. They can synthesize it however they want, but don't always make it so important.
Well, that's the thing. People have, I think, have a tendency to value their own importance a little bit too much, like to think that they are too important and their opinions matter more than anybody else's, or you know that, or
We all know people like that, don't we?
Exactly. And for guys who are just tuning in, welcome to another edition of Hot Topic Celeb TV, episode number 34. I'm your host, DTeflon on the MIC, with the legendary, infamous Ron Moss, some player, and the bold and the beautiful. Don't forget, you can check us out each and every Sunday here for Sunday service in conversation with Hollywood actors, producers, and directors. Each and every Tuesday night, Hot Topics After Dark. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out the website, hottopiccelebtv.com. Check out DTeflon.com for the replay. Also, you can follow me at DTeflon, and you can also follow at Ron Moss on Instagram and Facebook and all social media platforms. So for you, Ron, like, what would you say has been, in the 26 years of being an actor on TV and the decades that you've been a musician, what would you say for you has been, first, as an actor, your greatest achievement, also when it comes to Bold and the Beautiful, your most memorable scene? So we'll start with those first two questions.
Biggest achievement? Boy. Professionally or just in life?
As an actor.
As an actor. Being able to keep humble, being able to keep my sanity throughout being involved in this business. Two very different squirrely businesses, music and acting, theater stuff. You can get really crazy doing those kind of things. And I feel like I've kept a semblance of normalcy through all of it. I don't go, oh, I did this movie or I did this TV show and that's my greatest accomplishment. I'm always looking ahead to the next thing. I'm hoping that I can transcend the success and wonderful success that I personally had with Bold and Beautiful. I'm hoping I can transcend that and do other things that are wonderfully creative and inspiring as well. And one of those things that I wanted to tell you was this movie that we're planning to do, which is kind of what all this is about.
Okay.
And up until 2 days ago, my hair was very long. I just recently cut it. I was letting it grow and looking pretty gnarly because it's a Western that we're going to be doing called Trailblazers.
Is that the one with Antonio
Sabato Jr.?
Yeah.
And he's one of the writers and the producer of this movie. And we're getting a very wonderful, eclectic cast of friends in Hollywood together to do this, and we're looking forward to it. So
when do you guys start shooting that?
We're hoping for the end of this year.
Okay.
We're hoping to have everything, all the ducks lined up to have all of our stuff that we need. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be an old-fashioned Western, and we're all gearing up for the characters that we're going to be playing. It's
you got a whole Kirk Russell Tombstone vibe going on right now.
It's my girls go, Dad, you got to keep this stuff. You got to go. I don't know if I can.
See, I like the mustache. I like the mustache. I don't
know.
The mustache.
I don't know how long I can keep it. I can always grow it back when we finally get to the movie. But I was testing and doing. So people are probably looking at me going, "What the hell happened to him?"
Listen, if you cut off the beard, you may have a good porn career because
see the mustache,
an 80s porn star look, man. But for you, biggest accomplishment as an actor. But what would you say has been for you the most memorable scene that you had on Bold and the Beautiful? I mean, I know I've got my top three, but I want to hear yours.
I have not retained most of the 25 years of scenes. Sometimes I've watched flashbacks that when I was on the show, we'd watch flashbacks and I go, I don't even remember filming that. That's so far in the mix there. So there are several, but one that comes to mind was the elevator where Brooke and Ridge are stuck, and we wound up having to strip down to our underwear because we can't get out of the elevator, and it's hot, and we're both sweaty, and it was both romantic,
Mm-hmm.
it was erotic, and it was fun to do with her. And then, of course, when the door finally opens and we both spill out onto the floor, who's standing looking over me but Taylor? So
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "What? What's going?" And it was a very cute scene. But there have been so many over the 25 years. I wish I could remember all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I leave that to everybody else. I let everybody else, they come up and tell me their favorite scene, and that's what matters most to me, is how did it affect everybody else? Because for me to retain all that, like I told you, when I walk out of the studio, I can't tell you one thing I did that day. It's like I let it all go, and I have
Mm-hmm.
mentally let go of so much over the years. Just, I'm trying to keep my hard drive a little open so that maybe I have a couple of gigs left as the years go on. I'm not going to be spouting dialogue from B&B and the old folks actors home someday, even though I know it's all up there, it's
Mm-hmm.
in there. But I try to sort of categorize it into a different place. But
For you being obviously the set, like having that career, I know obviously for many actors, like us in the business where we want to spread our wings. I know, like, even for example, like Eric Braeden, when he started, it was only supposed to be like a couple of weeks and obviously turned into, 40 plus years. Did you ever at any point like want to, because obviously, as I said, doing the same thing every day over and over again, and us being artists, we're not used to being in that box because, as you say, we're constantly looking for the next challenge or the next door opening. We use one wheel to open up another wheel to open up another wheel. So for you, like being on the show, did you ever want to branch out at any time when you were on that show, or feel that, like, what, like maybe it's 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 come to a point where, like, I don't want to do this. I maybe want to step into prime time. Like, did you ever have that inclination to want to do that?
of course, many times over the course of 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, and I would have to. The only thing with a show like Bold and Beautiful is there's a process involved in doing it, and you have to give them time. You have to give them notice before you take time off to do another project.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not easy to do that, but it was possible. I would just go through the process, give them notice, give them time to write me out in a certain way and make it work, because it's not about making their life more difficult. It's about
Mm-hmm.
making it so everybody works together really well, crew, actors, everybody, and being courteous, being thoughtful, and all. So that planning that went into it did happen, and was able to do a handful of projects over the course of those years that were
Mm-hmm.
very nice projects that I loved doing.
So I had this question in retrospect, because I had, Sarah Joy Brown and Doug Davison on last week, and Sean the week before, and I asked them the same question I'm going to ask you, is that, you know in your experience, obviously working in daytime, working in prime time, working in film, and with you, there's a difference because you have, like me, the extra added bonus of as well being in music. What would you say the difference is for you in your experience as an actor between daytime and prime time, and your differences in preparation between working in daytime film and prime time and music? Your preparations are differences.
Very different preparations, very different. And that's what separates out the daytime genre, is you have no prep time. You have to do it instantly. You have to do it so quick that most people crash and burn. And it's a very different beast. At nighttime, you have a certain amount of time to absorb the script and to work on the script and maybe rehearse and go and do some things for an hour and a half project, whatever it happens to be. Not with what we do every day with the TV series. It's so. I have seen the reaction. I'll give you a quick one. A guy named John Philip Law,
Okay.
wonderful actor from movies, came on to The Young and Restless for a few weeks.
Okay.
As a guest to them years ago. And he came into our dressing room, our makeup room in the morning one time, and he had a look of shock on his face. He was blown away.
Okay.
He was just stunned. And I walked up to him with, that's John Philip Law. I went up and introduced myself and said, hello, I'm good to meet you. And he goes, I don't know how you guys do this. He'd been on for 2 weeks. He went, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you guys do this all the time. It's too much. It's just too much. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting next to Michael Madsen on a plane, and he looks over at me. He goes, how many pages you guys do a day? I went anywhere from 20 to 50 sometimes.
I still don't know how you do it, man.
And he's just looking at me going, 3 pages a day. That's my world. 3 pages a day. And he's just shaking his head like it's unbelievable. And it is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's a different beast. Mindset. It's a different beast totally. But I loved it. And I got my brain acclimated to it. We were a big family on Bold and Beautiful, which made it so much more pleasant than it would have been. I can't imagine being on a show where people don't get along with each other and don't have a real camaraderie. I think a lot of shows do have that, but it was extra special on Bold and Beautiful. And that's what I miss most. People ask me all the time, do you miss doing the show? I go, no, I don't, but I miss the people I worked with. Mm-hmm. Most of all, I miss that family that we had. And I'm talking crew as well. Crew and production and everybody. I miss them very much. And it's a very special thing that I'll never forget. I'm very grateful. I feel blessed.
So obviously you shocked the world when you made that decision to leave. What was it that made you say to yourself, it's time? Like what was the deciding moment or factor for you that made you make that decision? Because I was even shocked by it.
It surprised me too, and I'm gonna put most of it on an accident that Devin and I had a couple of weeks before I had to leave. My contract was up, yes, and I had to make a decision of staying or not for another couple of years. And we were in this accident that really, literally and symbolically, turned me around and put me in a different direction. It injured both of us in such a way. Maybe the brunt of it was my injury, but it made me, because I hit my head really hard and fractured my shoulder and all, I couldn't remember. I instantly could not remember as much stuff as before. And I didn't know if this was going to be permanent or temporary. I had lost all the strength in my left hand from hitting my shoulder.
Wow.
And from hitting my head, my memory pretty much went away. Now I can remember who you are and all that. But amount of dialogue, no, it had gone away. And it scared me because I didn't know.
That would be super scary, man.
I didn't know if it would be permanent. And I just took a symbol that had happened to me, and I went, maybe this is a message saying I need to do something else. Now, for me personally, I wish I had communicated all this stuff to everybody on the show more. I didn't. I'm not one of those people that airs out their dirty laundry. I'm not one of these people that goes and whinges and moans about whatever. No,
you're like me, man. I mean, when I
don't tell people when I'm in pain. They don't usually know that. I keep it to myself, and I did the same for the people on the show. So they didn't know what I was having to deal with. And I wish in hindsight that I had been a little more upfront and revealing to them to go, guys, I'm really having a hard time here. I think I'm going to have to take some time off. I don't know how long a time, but I need some time off. And I wish especially I had said this to Brad Bell, who was the executive producer and writer of our show. Then I wish I had said to him, Brad, I really need to take some time. I don't know how long, but I need to take some time to see if I'm going to heal from this or not. And I've neglected to do that. So for their perspective, it just looked like I was going to stop in 2 weeks. And I wasn't giving any real explanation for why.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just because I was tired of doing the show and didn't want to go on. I was just very confused and in a very black little place in my life right then. So in hindsight, 2020 vision of what we could have, should have, would have done.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a big reason why I decided I think I better take this time and go do something else if I'm even able to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
No, and I think that is the thing that we deal with in this business, where people think that you come into a sense of invincibility, and when it's something, I mean, obviously you know my history with my brain surgery and stuff like that, and I remember when I returned to work, maybe it was like 2 weeks after, and I had like this big ass hat over my head, but nobody knew that underneath that big ass hat I had like bandages all wrapped around my head. And this is where I go back to the business where I talk about people, is that the industry, it's not, I don't think it's really the fact of, number one, that, of not wanting to communicate, but in our business, the business doesn't give a shit. Like, they don't give a shit whether you're sick or injured or hurt. Like, and you also just don't want to, put yourself out there as weak or as a victim, in these circumstances. So and as like in our business, the old saying, the show must go on. And I think that's where it comes down to people who have dealt with physical and situations like myself and like yourself, where, I mean, even take Chadwick Boseman. I mean, he was dying of cancer, and he was putting out, I mean, you would have never known in Black Panther and all the different movies that he was doing that anything was wrong. And it wasn't until the end where people were like, wait a minute, he's got cancer? Because some people, they find the fuel where you're like, exactly what you said. Like, for me, I know it was, I mean, I've had near-death situations, but I think, you take a really perspective, when people ask me, like, where the Teflon comes from. And I say to people, it's like, if you've known what the fuck I've been through in my life, you would understand where that came from. And I think when we're in the business for so long, and as you said, at daytime, going at such a rapid pace every single day, and people come into a certain expectation of like, okay, this is Ronn. This is the level that we're going to get. This is the professional we're going to get. This is the intensity we're going to get. And then when it's almost like an athlete. When you can't get back into it. Because I know for me, like, for example, like you, being a musician, I play at the highest level. But then I stopped doing music to jump into this world. And I was doing where music before was my passion full time. Now it sort of became a backseat, because it's kind of hard, as to try to juggle both, like at the highest level. You either, you can be a musician, but you're traveling on the road. So you got to make a decision. Okay, well, I can't really do B&B if I'm going to be a full-time musician. And I know for me, the hard part was like, once I stopped playing at a regular level and I tried to get back into it to try to play at that same level, I couldn't do it. And as you say, it frustrates you, it scares you, it makes you not want to accept the fact that things are changing. So I think that we both sort of come into a realization in this business where, you know, you move at such a pace for such a long time, and you feel that, like, because I'm sure, you know, you've gone to work where, you know, like on a day when you're not feeling the greatest at B&B or whatever, like you may have not, you know, may have been sick, or maybe had a, you know, a fever. You got to keep going because there's people depending on you.
Right.
And I think that's where people don't understand, and you know, and maybe for the people that, you know, really didn't understand or want to accept, or the fans. I mean, I know I didn't know you got into an accident, and I'm grateful that, number one, that both you and Devin are here intact. But, you know, I can only imagine for yourself, after 26 years being the captain of the ship, having to have that pressure to not feel okay. First, it's like, okay, you come into the situation of, I'm letting myself down, because you're like, this is not my time to stop this shit. Like, I still got a lot more gas left in the tank, but then you're going, okay, well, I can't do it at the capacity that I once did. So you don't want to do disservice to not only your castmates, to the crew, to the legacy of the show, to the legacy of your character on the show, and also, you know, a disappointment to the fans that watch you. And you have to make this hard decision that people, I think, a lot of times, and I've been reading in the comments, people saying, you know, come back to B&B and come back to B&B and come back. And I don't think they understand that, like, people reach a point in their life where they're like, okay, I just want to move on. Like, I want to do other things that I wasn't able to do being on a show that's so demand. Did you feel that for you, that was a lot of the reasons, in the sense of making that decision, even besides your health?
There was probably some of that, yes. But one thing I think a lot of people don't know about my involvement with that show is, in 25 plus years, I never missed one day.
Mm-hmm.
Not one day. I was very often, not very often, but sometimes I would go and throw up in my dressing room and come back and finish the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
If we had kissing scenes or something that day, I just politely talk with the actor and go, let's not do that today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling great. I don't get sick hardly at all anyway, but say I lost my father. My father died when I was on the set, and I just said, they'd go, do you want to go home? I went, no, there's no reason to. Let's just keep going and finish the day. And there were multiple things like that, similar things that would happen. But I always chose to stay there because there are 200 other people in that studio working on our show that are,
Mm-hmm.
everything's got to be coordinated. And it wasn't fair to just go, oh, I have a sniffle, I'm not coming in today. So you have to rearrange everything. You know, I never did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. Now the sound is different because I had to unplug my my earphone.
Oh, no, you're still good. You're still good.
Okay. To plug it in because I was running out of battery. I didn't want it to die in the middle of that. But yeah, doing a show like that, I there's always an element of wanting to branch out and do other things artistically. So that's why I'm enjoying doing that now. I was going to ask, I wanted one thing, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you, man. Thank you.
Day to everybody who's in here with us. I wanted to say
We're also, guys, we're going to take some fan questions towards the end of this podcast. So I'm gonna let a few of you guys in to ask Ron a question live, or if you got a question for me. So just stay tuned towards the end of the show. But continue.
And I'm gonna pretty soon start up again with my Ronn's Garage that you were on with me before.
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's important to have that medium. I'd like to get that going again.
Yeah, we got. I was saying I was waiting because I wanted to come back with Texas, since we never got to have that full conversation with him, and we all got chopped off. And I think that, I enjoyed being on the show, and I enjoyed having those conversations with you on those issues. And I think that's where, to me, I think, like, there's a way to use your platforms. I think a lot of people use their platforms the wrong way, but I think there's a way for you to use your platform and educate and also inform, and also, and this is where, like, I try to, with our show, is to allow people to tell their story, to really show exactly the human side, because I think that fans who don't know the stress and the pressure of what we go through in this business as public figures and performers, that we're human. We got feelings and emotions just like everybody else. And I think that, like, where you telling your story here today, I think, for the viewers and fans and even maybe castmates that watch this who didn't get that real answer until now of why you made a decision, that people can have a little bit more empathy and not, and I get it when a person's fan favorite leaves a show because you become so connected with that person, and they fall in love with Ridge Forrester, that they've loved and watched, and his journey for 26 years as you played the show. But forget, at the end of the day, Ridge Forrester is Ron Moss, and Ron Moss is a human being who goes through challenges, ups and downs, like every other person, like me or you. And I think that, hopefully, with those hearing your story today, hearing what you had to go through and why you made a decision, will think before you come and to someone's social media platform to bash an actor, to bash someone's, listen, we can all be passionate about the shows that you love and you watch and the characters that you root for and that you hate. But also to remember, at the end of the day, is that you don't know what someone's going through. I mean, take, for example, my good friend, who I had the privilege to work with, on Man of the Year, and got to know Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, who was probably the funniest human alive, probably the best comedian of all time. And here is a man who made everybody laugh for years, but then killed himself. And people don't understand is that, like, everybody in life is battling a battle that you don't know shit about. And if we just take a little bit of time to be a little bit kinder to each other, to understand each other's empathy towards each other, that this world could be a lot better place and a lot more enjoyable.
I totally agree with you there. I think people always have to to imagine that there's a lot of deeper things going on with everybody. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a past. Everybody has something they've had to deal with that's been traumatic in some way.
Mm-hmm.
No escapes. Nobody. So always have the empathy of looking at a new person or a person you admire or whatever it happens to be. Look at them like they have a history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called respect. It's respecting what everybody goes through. We're in this human condition now, aren't we? All together.
Mm-hmm.
And we share the world together.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it work. Some people are more generous than others. Some people are more loving than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some people operate from love. I noticed a woman asked, do you believe in God? And it was interesting. I don't know if I've ever been asked that in the last long while. I believe I'm very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. And
Do you believe in God? I mean, for me, I've asked people have asked me that question many times, and my personal answer is no. I believe in the fact that there is an inner power that is inside all of us that we have to go through to find our own spirituality. I do believe in Jesus Christ because I believe in the fact of what he sacrificed in order for other people. And I think that that's like in my own personal story that I connect more with Jesus Christ because, again, I've sacrificed my body physically for people, being stabbed growing up, in the business, my health, in order to give out a performance. And when Jesus was on the cross and he's getting whipped and he's getting stoned and he's saying, Father, forgive me, they do not know the sins that are being cast upon us. And when people say about God, this is where, for me, my whole thing is where I don't believe that one person, I think this is where the divide comes from in the world. There's always this belief that one person is more powerful than the other. But then there's a contradictory statement saying that all men are created equal. Well, if all men are created equal, then how can you put one person higher than the other? And that's where I look at of the fact of that, that if we start looking at people, looking at individuals as equals, then we all can find a way in order to love more and not be with so much hate and divide. I mean, I know we talked about it on your show in regards to, from the Racism Act to just, the way people treat each other. For you, like in retrospect, I mean, you've gone through decades of living, decades of seeing things change in society and in life. Before we get into that subject, I want to finish up the second part of the question. What for you was your biggest highlight and career achievement as a musician? What player?
Biggest achievement, boy. I always think ahead, like I said before, to my biggest achievement hasn't happened yet. And I always look forward to that. I never go, okay, Baby Come Back was a big achievement, but is that my biggest one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm hoping no. I'm hoping that's just one of what will be a process still able to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to pin one thing of just, okay, my whole history rests on that now. No, I let that go and let it be as part of my creative past, and let's just move on with it.
Mm-hmm.
See how much more we can do. I'm loving doing the stuff I'm doing now. In fact, I was going to ask you, could I do a little song that
Yeah, sure, 100%. Love to.
It'll be kind of unusual for your audience.
Okay. Guys, don't forget, welcome to another edition of Hot Topic Celeb TV with the incredible, legendary, my brother from another, Ron Moss, in the building. Tonight on Hot Topic Celeb TV Sunday service, we're about to give a little special musical addition to this episode.
This is actually an Italian song. I hope the sound is going to be okay. Can you hear the guitar?
Mm-hmm.
This is an Italian song that I will sing in Italian.
Okay.
Which is a new thing for me, and I'm I'm loving doing it. I never thought I would be singing in a foreign language.
Before you start, someone wants to know your answer. Do you believe in God?
Oh, yeah, I saw they said he didn't let you answer. I believe in the energy of Jesus, yes. I believe that this is not all just happenstance,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only define it that way, and I can only speak for myself on this. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
come to their own conclusions about what they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
They what they seek comfort in with religion or spirituality. I know what I see, and I see things that this should be a different topic for a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it will get. So I know what I see in this life, and it's very otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it that way. So I know there's other dimensions and other things out there. But am I a religious going to church person? No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's
Nothing
just
wrong with it. Everyone has their choice, man, to live their life the way they want to live it.
exactly. But I'm spiritual enough to where you could probably say I live a Christian life in a way. Yes. The golden rule, just very simple way of living for me. And I like to be honest in everything I do. So
With what you experienced in your accident, did you find that epiphany changed you as a person?
it changed me in what I was doing, yes, and changed me in the way I thought of continuing with the TV show, and I maybe needed to go in a different direction. Yes, it did change me very much, but it freed me up in a way. It freed
Mm-hmm.
me up to pursue other creative things that I've been doing in my life, and to become more introspective, even more so. I've always been introspective, and this just amplified everything even more. So let me do this song, and then
Yep.
we continue talking. This
Okay.
is called Io que amo solo te. I who only love you. C'è gente che ha avuto mille cose, tutto il bene, tutto il male del mondo. Io ho avuto solo te, e non ti perderò, non ti lascerò, per cercare nuove avventure. C'è gente che ama mille cose, chi si perde per le strade del mondo. Io che amo solo te, io mi fermerò e te regalerò quel che resta della mia gioventù.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Wow. You make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Come on, come on, come on, wild thing. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Love it, man. Love it. What are you working on now music wise? What's your next venture with that?
A couple more songs, a couple. I was fortunate enough while we were over in Belgium to write and record a song that became a #1 song over there in Belgium. It went up the charts in Belgium. So me and this wonderful Belgian artist named Ella Luna, she's Belgian, but she sings in French. So we did a song with transcribed my lyrics into French for her. And we had a #1 hit in Belgium. It was very cool. It's called Dreaming in Color. If anybody wants to look it up, it's on YouTube. You can look it up. We made a little video to go along with it, and it came out really nice. And then we followed it up with Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. Many people know that song. It's been around a long time. She and I did that song and recorded another little video to go, and that went #1. We're on a roll with Belgium. But I've been recording now some other songs that I like. I just finished a song by the group America that I've always liked. These guys, there are two original members left in the group. And I am going to do a little video to go along with that, and I'll release that very soon. Writing new stuff, new songs, and it's been very cool. I'm enjoying the process of just writing and recording now. It's more fun than it used to be in a way. Maybe
have you found with COVID, he's giving you a chance to be more creative because you had more time?
I didn't let it stop me. Let's put it that way. I did not, going back to your original question of were you ever afraid? No, I wasn't, because I know more stuff that's really going on. Call it inside information, whatever, but I know people, if I can just give a bit of my 2 cents to people, don't be afraid of it. Do not be afraid of it. It's a 99.99x% that you will get over it. Your natural immune system is very powerful. Let it stop wearing masks, because they are going to destroy your immune system. There was a group of parents that sent the masks that their kids were wearing. They sent them to the lab, and what they came back with was a horrendous amount of viral and bacteria stuff in these masks that the kids would re-ingest in their bodies and would ultimately make them sick just wearing the mask. Stop masks. They don't work anyway. All they do is collect a bunch of crap in them, a bunch of viral bacteria that you're going to reinstigate into your system. And that's where a lot of the trouble goes. It will take you down, and you will get sick from wearing a mask. They knew that back in 1918 when the Spanish flu hit. And guess who wrote a paper about that? That more people died from wearing the mask from the viral infections happening than the pandemic.
Well, this is the thing. The fact that we were combating in 1918 viruses with masks
about all this stuff,
and now we're still in 2020.
They knew that masks were harmful to people's health, and they knew that a majority of people that died back then was because they were holding this thing over their mouth and breathing all of their bacteria. And who wrote a paper about that? Dr. Anthony Fauci wrote a paper knowing that. But he
Mm-hmm.
comes out and tells everybody to wear 2 masks. I'm sorry, but it's criminal. It's criminal what's going on. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. We'll leave it there.
Well, for you, obviously, as I said, I mean, being before over in Italy in the hype of when everything was going on. I mean, you
Let me
obviously
tell
had
you what
said,
really
yeah, tell the people who were there.
that went in with their cell phones into the hospitals that we were being told were jammed packed with COVID patients and people were dying on the floors and all. Well, they went in and showed us that there was nobody in the hospitals. They were empty. They had sent the doctors and the nurses home because there was no need for them to even be there. The news that people were being told in Italy and here was bullshit. We're being told bad, horrible stuff to keep everybody in fear. Those hospitals were not overrun. Yes, did some people die who had they had other issues going
Underlying conditions. I mean, that's what it boils down to, is that
on.
people don't get it.
More vulnerable, maybe. If you were overweight, that apparently affected a lot of people in how their system would get through this particular.
But isn't that like anything though? Like anyone that's overly obese, or anyone in the sense, number one, that doesn't take care of their health, or anyone that has underlying conditions, you are at risk every day. It doesn't
Yes.
matter whether it's COVID, or it doesn't matter whether it's the flu. Like anything can turn. I mean, and I've lost people, and again, people who have died throughout this pandemic, and me myself, as you know, getting COVID and being in the hospital with that shit. Listen, no one is here to debate whether this virus is real or not. It's a real thing, but the exaggeration of people dying due to COVID is a huge exaggeration in the fact of the media manipulating and using it to their benefit to spread that fear, because when you look at, like, for us being over here, Florida, with DeSantis, we're fully open. Like, it's like COVID didn't even exist. Like, everything is back to normal as it is, where other places, are constantly using it for their own political gain to, increase either financial or fear. And we've discussed this, in depth, and I think what it boils down to is where DeSantis's views compared to the rest of the world is like, look, we were all born to have the freedom to make our own decisions. Period. You have your right, I have my right. If you want to wear a mask, no one's telling you not to. You want to live in fear, nobody's telling you not to. Just don't try to push that fear, or push your beliefs, or push your masking or vaccine or anything on anybody, because nobody's asking for you to give that opinion. Like, even for me, like, what I've tried to understand throughout this whole situation, even when it comes to social media, people putting pictures up or in their bio, I've been vaccinated, I wear a mask. What happened to privacy? Like, I don't remember growing up in my era and your era where if we went to for example, as you had that car accident, you didn't release your medical history to the world and be like, hey, I'm going through this situation, because to me, I think that things that we go through in our own individual aspects should be private. But I don't understand why people feel the need to broadcast that, to shame somebody, to say, well, or even to ask the question, are you vaccinated? Do you believe in wearing a mask? Because really, in reality, what does it matter to you? Like, why should, and if you don't like something, as you said before, shut the F up. Like, unless I ask you for your opinion on it, or, you know, and again, if you are living in fear and you feel that, you know what, if you step outside your house, you're going to get this virus, then don't leave your house. But I don't know. It's to me, it's gotten to the point that's only making us more divided when it doesn't need to be. I think people should just go about, as we've talked about before,
I
about
wish
living their own life.
divide everybody so much, and we have definitely gotten divided over this and several other things. But I I agree that it has to be everybody's choice. I am watching friends decide to get vaccinated, and I have to let them do that. If I was to say don't get vaccinated and tell them why, it's still their decision to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, and I noticed somebody asked me, and I'm going to answer that. No, I am not, and I will not do that because it's not a vaccination. It is a genetic altering chemical that they are putting into people. And I know too much about what is actually happening and why they're doing it. It is an experimental, they're saying, and it's experimental and all this. Why would you take something that's experimental for I'm going to say a flu that has a 99.99x ability to survive it if your body is operating in a normal way? Why would you take a vaccine? I didn't take a flu vaccine in my lifetime because I didn't believe I wanted to do that. I didn't need it. This thing that they're perpetuating on us is very different than the measles shot, the mumps shot, the tetanus shot. This is a very different beast that they are perpetuating on the world, and a very different reason they're hyping it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they're working so hard to advertise and sell you this vaccine? Has anybody ever seen that happen before? No, because they are desperate, because they want as many people to take this experimental thing. I won't call it a vaccine because it has nothing to do with being a vaccine. This is a very horrible concoction that they are putting into people, and I will not do it because I know what may happen, and there are a lot of horrible things happening that they're not even going to tell you. The mainstream, the same people that are thinking, oh, I will be okay if I get this vaccine, they're not getting the information of how the repercussions have been affecting a lot of people having had the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of horrible side effects have already started happening, and they're happening more and more and more. And I'm sad that I'm going to start seeing a lot of my friends have some bad reactions here, and I have to keep zipped about it, because if I get into their face, say don't do it, I'm going to be the same as somebody coming on the side and saying you must take it. You're going to be indoctrinated to take it, and you're going to be chastised if you don't take it. I don't want that on the opposite side. So everybody has to make their own mind
Decision.
Yes.
Exactly.
But I totally implore everybody, please look deeper into what is actually in those experimental concoctions that they're giving to people. I don't care if it's Moderna or Johnson & Johnson or whatever else it is. It's a horrible concoction that's going to change your DNA, and it's going to mess with it's going to take your immune system down, which is what it was designed to do. So you'll be even more susceptible to future things. If you don't get a blood clot, or have heart damage, as young kids are coming up with now. Young kids are having this horrible thing of their hearts, things are happening with their hearts at a very early age now, having been vaccinated. So please, please, please look deeper before you decide to do it. D, I am very much hoping that most people don't even know what med beds are. Maybe some have heard of them.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Hoping med beds will eventually be accessible to a lot of people, and we can maybe reverse what is about to happen with the people that have taken this concoction of stuff. That's a different topic for another.
There. So for you, I want to move on from that. For you, for example, I know you've had a lot of different projects, that you've been working on. I know that you started up a wine business. Tell me about that.
We while in Italy, we took us about a year and a half to formulate the right vineyard and the right to make my own wines. So I have several different lines within the Moss wine category.
Mm-hmm.
We're just working on we've just released a sparkling wine.
Okay.
In other circumstances, they call it champagne, but you can't technically call it champagne, so it's more of a spumante. A spumante is a sparkling wine.
And what's the name of the wine?
Ronn Moss wine.
Okay. And where can people, if people want to get it, where can they get it?
In Europe, you can go to I think it's winemoss.com.
Okay.
But just look up Ronn Moss wine and it'll probably come up. In Europe, they'll have easier access than here. We're just about to get a distributor here in the United States so people can order it here. You have to have a distributor for bringing alcohol into a country like this. So
okay,
it's a bit of a trick, but since we're just starting out with it here, but it's gaining popularity in Europe and in Finland. And we have a couple friends in Finland who have put it in their restaurants. It's quite nice. So yeah, it's a new project because it's a passion as well for me, the wine. And this particular wine is very strong, very heavy. It's a 16% Primitivo.
Okay.
Primitivo is a single grape, not a combination of wines, not a mix. It's a single grape, and it's extraordinary. I've fallen in love with my own wine. It's when do
you think it'll be available in the States? Like when do you think it'll be available?
I'm hoping within the next few months we'll have it available. At least hopefully by the end of the year. I'm waiting for my next shipment to come in, a small shipment, so we can see how everything is with the sparkling wine. But yeah, I'm hoping by the end of the year we should have it distributed here. But I would love everybody I wish I could send a bottle out to everybody to have them test it, because I think they would like it.
Well, I'll get the information from you at the end after we get off here, so I can make sure it's put up. For you guys who are just joining in right now, welcome to another edition of Hot Topics, CELEBTV.com, Sunday service in conversation, Hollywood actors, producers, directors, with the legendary, iconic Ronn Moss, a.k.a. Ronn Moss Ridge Forrester from The Bold and the Beautiful and from Player. If you missed this show for the Ronn Moss story, please don't forget you can log on, and it will be up later on in about a week's time from now on Hot Topics, CELEBTV.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on the website so you never miss an episode, so you can see here each and every week, each and every Sunday. Tune in to have conversations with some of your favorite stars from film and television. Also, each and every Tuesday, Hot Topic Celeb TV After Dark for the Hot Topic conversations off the record and unscripted and uncensored. You can also follow me at DTeflon if you're enjoying this podcast. Follow at Ronn Moss if you're just tuning in on all social media platforms. So for you, Ron, in a sense, number one, I know that you've been also working on a new series with my brother from another, the bad boy himself, Sean Kanan, on a show called Studio City. Tell me about that project and how you got involved with that project and about your character on that show.
Sean and Michelle, his wife Michelle asked Devin and I to come and just do a scene, just a quick little hello, how are you kind of scene. So we went with the intention of doing that, and they had loosely scripted a sort of format, but it was all improvised. We Sean and I just improvised pretty much the whole thing, and it came out really well. So his director then and Sean asked me, Ron, could you stay just a little longer, and we're going to try another scene. We're going to make up another scene.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, all right, I'll stay a little longer. So then we just improvised a completely weird scene that was very funny. It actually made me laugh just doing it. Of course, we did 45 minutes worth of a scene that they'll cut down to 3 minutes. But I'm curious about the stuff they cut out, because it could be very funny for something later. But we improvised. Sean and I improvised the whole thing, and it worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I've really had an opportunity to do that. Usually it's very scripted. For 25 years, I did very scripted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool, very away from, even on the Bay, which Devin and I are part of as well. It's very scripted, and we stick to the script of the way it is. But Sean's show, we improvised. I don't know if they all improvise. I think they're more scripted when they have time. But because we were kind of added at the last minute, it worked out really well. So I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy. It made me laugh to watch it. But Sean,
for people haven't seen it, tell people about your character, who you play.
He's very quick with, and he likes improvisation, so it works really well.
Well, that's from his stand-up. That's definitely from his stand-up. But for you, like for people who haven't seen it, tell people about your character and who he is and what the character.
Studio City is a producer, a movie producer, and I was giving Sean's character a chance to. We obviously had a very sordid past, he and I, a very combative past that made up instantly. And so I hire him to do this movie, but it gets kind of weird in what I demand that he does.
Okay.
But it's very cute. I think it was episode 10. If you look at the Studio City catalog of their shows, it was episode 10 that we did.
Have you had any scenes with Sarah Joy Brown in that?
I haven't done anything with Sarah so far. She was on Bold and Beautiful years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we worked together back then. But I haven't done anything with her on this Studio City. But it's a very cute show. I think Sean does a wonderful, wonderful job. He and Michelle are producing this, and it's very funny. It's very funny. It's very engaging, I must say.
So for you, like, I want to ask you, if you could speak to your younger self, your younger Ron Moss, what advice would you give him to now?
Have more fun with the things you're doing right now. Even if you don't think this is your ultimate career move, think this is the thing that will make you famous or make you more viable as an artist. Have fun with every little step that you take, because fun adds up. Just like positivity, it adds up. It's cumulative. If you live your life and are artistic and you make it fun, do what you love that you would do for free. And if you get paid eventually for doing it, that's just icing on the cake, and you can make a go of doing what you love and making a living at it. But just do things because you love doing it. That's what the music became for me. It's hard to make a living doing music. It's even harder now than it was when I was back with Player. But I do it because I love it now. And we're planning to go over to Europe. I saw somebody ask, are you coming back to Europe? Yes, we're hopefully coming back in the next couple months to do some music projects and to go to Bulgaria to do a concert there, a couple of concerts. And I would do it for free, but they are paying me to do the stuff. Maybe not what I would want to get paid, but
Mm-hmm.
a nice dinner, a couple of drinks, let's have some fun.
Well, as I say, man, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, man.
That's pretty much what it came down to. And that's what I would say to my younger self. Just do it. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do for free. And then do it because you love it. That way you'll do exactly what you just said. You'll never work a day in your life. You'll be doing things you love. And I have enjoyed the last several years being more creative than I've felt in a long, long time. And you just have to be happy. You have to get up and make a choice to be happy every day. Sometimes you have to work at it. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have adversity. Sometimes you're going to have a lot of stuff that happens to all of us in life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing more friends now. We're all older. I'm losing more friends than I want to.
Yeah.
And not
Trust me.
to,
Way too many we've lost, man. Way too many. I mean,
but you have to blaze through it and still find the happiness, find the joy around you. I have been very, very blessed and very lucky. And as I said before, I've tried to eliminate a lot of the bullshit around me. Makes it a lot more pleasant. And I seek out people like you who are positive influences in the world and have a great vibe that you put
thank you,
out.
man. Thank you, brother. I love
You
you. Thank you.
for going through what you've gone through, and you still have the wherewithal to put out a positive message and a positive vibe. I think it's important.
Well, I think for me, I mean, it's been therapy, but it's also been like, as I said, like, going through all the shit that I've gone through the last several years. And, even with this whole COVID situation for me, I'll admit, like, it's been, even though things have been open and things are getting back to normal again, I've had this anxiety, like now, like where I was so used to being around people because of work and shit before, and now things slowed down, and it's like it's hard getting back into that thing of seeing people, because it's like on one hand you want to see people, on the other hand you don't, if that makes sense. And the other aspect, it's like, of exactly what you said, like before COVID, I was sort of, as you know, coming out of a dark space after losing Christoph, and not having my brother, you know, who was the guy that helped me through so much shit that I went through, and not having him around me anymore, and having to, still deal with the pain that I face of like missing him, and the things that I've lost and the things that I've gone through with health wise, you know, it's this was my outlet. Just like for you, music is your outlet that you go back to. Me, it was like, okay, you know what? Like, if I'm not creating, I feel lost. And you have to constantly be creating in this business. You have to constantly be trying to find that thing, that next thing. So, like, for you, what keeps you motivated? Like, you've been going at this for so long, and for you, like, you've reached the pinnacle of success as a musician. You've reached the pinnacle as success as an actor. Where do you go from there? Like, what keeps you once you reach that point? First, what does success mean to you? And second, how do you stay motivated on those hard days?
I don't look at success as a finite thing. You do one thing, you take the successes day by day. I think just getting up, being able to get up in the morning and be able to function is a success. I very much appreciate the small little moments in life, and I don't just look for the big wow moments.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are very few big wow moments. They're all smaller moments that are cumulative. So for me, success is just being able to enjoy having a glass of wine with my friends, to come home to a loving wife that understands a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to spend time with our children. And those are big successes to me. I don't gauge success by just how much money I've accumulated or made in some way, or how big a project or movie I did. I don't
Mm-hmm.
make that the epitome of defining my successes. So my successes are all small successes that have been cumulative into a lifetime. And for me, I get up feeling blessed every day. And I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Who inspired you? Like, did you have someone when you first as a musician, and even in your career as an actor? Was there anybody that inspired you?
Many, many people. I'm still inspired by people. D, you inspire me. You inspire me as well. I am inspired by anybody who gives off a positive vibe. I think it's very attractive and it's very needed.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been musicians that have inspired me? Of course. The list is too long to
Name
give.
your top three inspirational musicians that inspired you as an artist.
The Beatles,
Okay.
um, Jeff Lynne of
Okay.
Electric Light Orchestra,
Okay.
um, Peter Gabriel.
Okay.
Uh, I'm always grabbing at names of groups, the Stones even. I'm attracted to a lot of different styles of music, and I've been influenced by a lot of things.
And what about as an actor? Who inspired you as an actor?
As an actor, I don't have the role models, let's say, that most people do. Especially not modern actors, no. Uh, let's say a Peter O'Toole,
Okay.
a Katharine Hepburn, a Audrey Hepburn. There are less than a handful of actors that maybe I grew up with watching, but that for me is more of an internal process of just being myself, and not I don't think about other actors when I do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Musicians, I would go, oh, I want to play like BB King something, or like a Paul McCartney, or I can pick certain influences, but not acting. Acting is very different for me.
Did you ever have a role either an audition for a project or a role that you really really wanted but you didn't get?
Sure.
How did you deal with that? Like, what that, how was? Because I know some people, they like when they first get in the business and they don't get them, they feel defeated. You know, what's your process in the sense of like the audition process?
I hated the audition process. I still hate it. Can't stand it. It's just a horrible thing to put somebody through. One of my ones that I didn't get was a movie called Tron with
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, I remember Tron.
Bridges, and I went and screen tested with Jeff Bridges.
Hmm.
He came
I
and
love him as actor.
yeah, he was wonderful. And everything we would do in that movie, that was a very new technology. Everything was
Hmm.
done with blue screens back then. So the director and the producer both wanted me, but Disney decided that because it was a new director and a new producer, they wanted an actor that they didn't feel had to be directed. They didn't have maybe the confidence in this director. So they chose Bruce Boxleitner to take that role. That was a big disappointment because I was really, I knew that I was in there and all, but Disney kind of made an executive decision of wanting to have a more experienced actor, and he had had that series for years and all. So the other one was Lady Hawk.
Okay.
Hawk was a movie with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Okay.
And I'm blanking on the German gentleman's name. Rutger Hauer of Blade Runner fame. Rutger Hauer wound up getting that part, but Richard Donner put me through doing almost every scene in the movie in his office. Every scene in the movie, I wound up doing it live for him and getting deep into stuff with the hawk and all this stuff. And I wanted that movie so bad. I wanted that project so bad. And I was very disappointed to not get it, because I think I would have been really, really good with that. But even watching Rutger Hauer after the fact, I went, I don't feel like he really put himself in it. He backed off a lot from it. But anyway, that's just...
If you could right now, because obviously you've been producing and stuff like that as well, if you could produce an act in a movie and pick your 5 male and female Mount Rushmore of actors that you could put in your film and your project and work with, who would those 5 be, living or dead?
Honestly, D, I don't even have an answer for that. I don't even have an answer for that, because my feeling for Hollywood has changed dramatically in the last few years. I don't have the respect for a lot of Hollywood actors anymore. I've lost it for that. So the actors that I might have answered that question with 5 years ago, no longer. They have lost it for my viewpoint. So I can't even answer that, my friend.
Okay, so I'll ask you another question then. If you could learn the answer to one question about your future, what would the question be?
How involved have aliens been in our world that we're just now finding out about? And how have they helped shape where we are now? How's that for esoteric?
That's a different answer.
I truly believe, and I have my own massive amount of evidence, that we have not been alone here as species on this earth. And aliens very much have influenced a lot of things in the last many, many years, which also taps into your question about God.
Okay.
Because if God truly does exist, there are a lot of other things that have happened in our world that would expand on that concept greatly.
I agree.
One of those questions would be, how much influence have they had on the way the world is now? And how much will they have coming up in the near future? I think it's going to be amazing. I think we're going to find out some technology and some things that we have had that they've kept the information from us. There again, this is a conversation for another time, but we have been kept from this information that would change all of our lives dramatically and very likely for the better in a
Okay.
lot of it. I'll keep it at the positive side, because they're like with other entities out there, there's good and bad with that too. But
Okay.
I believe that we have a very, very amazing, good influence of, I call it extraterrestrial, but there's a better term out there somewhere.
So my next question would be: time freezes for everyone, but Ron Moss for one day. What does Ron Moss do?
Time freezes?
For everybody but you. What do you do on that day?
Spending time with the people closest to me.
What is something you're obsessed with?
Information. Knowing information now. Knowing what's really going on underneath the hype and bullshit that we're all fed every day in the news.
What's your favorite way to waste time?
Read. I can't say I really waste time. In the true sense, I'm not ever wasting time. Let's say doing repairs around my house.
Okay.
It's a kind of a mindless thing that is very. It gives me a chance to chill
And disconnect.
I love repairing stuff, so that a lot of people would see that as mindless. For me, it's almost like a meditation.
If you weren't an actor and weren't a musician, and you could press the reset button on your life, and you couldn't, and those two options were taken out of the equation, what would Ron Moss do?
I'd be one hell of a surgeon.
Okay.
I think I would have made an amazing doctor had I not. If I had known more happy doctors back when I was a kid, and I would have made a great surgeon now.
Have you ever played a doctor in any of your roles, like in the last 26 years?
If I could have all of my sensibilities now and my awareness and my ability to handle social things and all, and not be one of those doctors that is so focused on that he loses the ability to be human and have a conversation with people, which some doctors do, really good at what they do. If I could have the socialization skills that I now have and still be the doctor that I envision myself being, I would want to do that.
What is something that's popular now that annoys you?
Social media.
I knew you were going to answer that. What do you do to get rid of stress?
Work out, do music. Pretty much that. Glass of wine or two or three helps me.
Don't forget, guys, get Ron Moss wine, available in Italy. If I know you don't like talking about yourself, but if you were to describe three words to describe yourself, what would those 3 words be?
Zen, patient, sort of, and positive.
I know you've traveled a lot of places in your life. What is the most beautiful place you've ever been?
Italy.
What's the most relaxing place you've ever been?
In my own head.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. What word or saying from the past do you think should come back? Baby?
Boy. I've always liked the word funky.
Okay.
Funky had a wonderful multitude of meanings. Cool, disheveled. I'm feeling really funky today.
Okay.
That is just so funky. It's cool. So okay, I'll pick that one.
What was the last movie you watched?
Harry Potter.
Do you prefer to watch movies in the theater or in the comfort of your own home?
My home.
What was the last funny video you saw?
I guess the name Peel. The two gentlemen, Peel.
Oh, Keel and Peele? Yes. Super
Yes.
funny shit.
Key and Peel.
Yeah.
My freaking God, these
Yeah.
gentlemen, they are without a doubt two of the funniest, and the skits that if you guys have never seen.
Have you seen the Balaki skit? The one where he's a teacher?
Yes. Oh, just they wiped me out. I can
Yeah.
keep going with them. Guys, look up Key, Key, and Peel, Peel. Key and Peel, and look at the amount of work they've done. But these two guys, these two actors, and they write their stuff, and a lot of it is improvisation. But what they do just wastes me, as far as it makes me laugh out loud while I'm totally by myself.
What's a secret talent that your fans would not know about you, that you have?
I'm good at fixing stuff, meaning around the house. Devin was fascinated that I could fix a toilet, that I could fix stuff. Anyway, that's, yeah.
What's a song that always puts you in a good mood?
Whoa. ELO has a lot of those. Electric Light Orchestra, Jeff Lynne. Always puts me in a good mood. Old 50s music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any particular song? Name of a song?
Can't think of it now.
Are there any songs that you listen to, the minute you hear it brings a tear to your eye? That makes you emotional?
Yeah. Andrew Lloyd Webber, Music of the Night from
I played that for my Royal Conservatory exam on piano.
Phantom of the Opera. When Michael Crawford sang that just before the intermission, seeing him sing that live in the theater, and I was sobbing like I've never sobbed before, because the tones of that music, the tones of that progression and all, just wasted me. And it took me the whole 10 minutes of intermission just to calm myself down enough to be able to function after that. And another one, oddly enough, from the same author, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Cats, one of the themes from Cats, Memories.
Okay.
That Betty Buckley sang. That tune just wastes me. It's amazing how much emotion. And she would sing that every night and sob herself while she's singing. Now, if anyone who ever sang knows it's almost impossible to sing when you're when you have that up. But she would do that every night. It was absolutely phenomenal. But it really affects me.
Who was the first band or musician you were really into?
Oh, I'm going to just give the Beatles that credit, because I had several groups before that, surf groups, the Beach Boys and all that. But the Beatles changed the ball game for me.
3 best apps on your phone right now.
God, what would that be? I have one that I can film. It's called Filmic Pro.
Okay.
And you can film things and have a lot of control in the way you film it, much more than the regular thing on our iPhones. What else? Three.
Two more.
Oh, God. I've been into Telegram recently just because there's so much information on there.
Okay.
And what's another one? I deal with this one a lot, Instagram.
Okay.
This one, it's a good place to keep to put my daily stuff for anybody who wants to come and follow along.
An app mysteriously appears on your phone right now that does something amazing. What does it do?
Say that again, the first part.
If an app mysteriously appeared on your phone right now that does something amazing, what does it do?
Tell the future.
What is a fashion trend that you're really glad went away?
Oh, boy. There are many. Let's pick bell bottoms.
I was about to say the same thing.
Were you?
Yeah. What is the most ridiculous thing the first time you came into money? What's the most ridiculous thing that you've ever bought? That you're like, this was a waste of money. I shouldn't have spent my money on this.
A drum machine.
Okay. If you could call up anyone in the world right now, living or dead, and have a 1-hour conversation, who would you call?
John Lennon.
Obviously, the world's opening up right now. People are going to start flying soon. If you could sit on a plane for a 10-hour flight back to Italy, and you could pick anybody, living or dead, to sit beside, who would you want to sit next to? And why?
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into our discussion just to make people, just to send everybody over the edge. Jesus.
Okay. That would be,
because
that's a great answer.
I would want to ask a lot of questions about him, about where he came from, where he's been, what is true and what isn't. I would have a lot of.
That's a great answer. So obviously, you know, many sports teams have mascots that represent what that team is about. If you had a personal mascot for Ron Moss, what would that mascot be to represent Ron Moss?
I would love to have a big cat.
Same here. Do you have any cats?
I've always had cats. I don't have any cats in my life right now, but I have the smallest dog in the world in my life. But he's
what's the name of your dog?
Prince.
Prince. Okay. Was it named after like Prince?
Prince the rock star. Yes, he's Devin. That was Devin's old boyfriend, the rock star.
Mm-hmm.
So this dog spiritually came into our lives and found us. He's a rescue dog, and there's a long story that comes with him, but he's quite the cool dude.
What's the craziest, most outrageous thing you want to achieve in your life before you go?
I would like to help solve some of the world's problems. I would like to infuse a bunch of positivity into things. I would like to help inform people on not to be afraid of what's happening now. I could probably keep going with all that.
Okay. We're going to take one more session, and then I'm going to give you some rapid questions, and then we're going to do some fan call-ins, and then we'll wrap it. What have you in your career professionally that you, because you've accomplished so many legendary and iconic things. What's the thing left in Ron Moss's professional career that he hasn't achieved that he wants to achieve before you call it?
Everything. I don't look at anything I've done as being iconic. I don't look at anything I've done as being particularly extraordinary. I look at it as just a process of being creative, of continuing on, and I try not to look back too often. I try to keep my vision forward. I don't look at myself as being particularly, I look at myself as being extraordinary, yes, but I don't think that I'm just so hip and cool that who's cool for school. I'm not that guy. I'm not a guy that looks in the mirror a lot, really. I like just keeping going, keeping creative, and seeing where I can go, And I'm hoping that what's ahead is even bigger and better than what was behind me. That's the way I look at it. I don't rest on my laurels with any of this stuff. And I appreciate you saying all those very amazing things you've introduced me with and all, but I look in the mirror differently. I look at a very semi-normal guy, trying to be an artist and keeping my creativity as open and accessible to everybody as I can.
So I'm going to leave you with some one-word associations, and you just think of the first thing that comes to your head. Catherine Kelly Lang.
Gorgeous.
John McCook.
Funny.
Windsor Harmon.
Sometimes troubled, but a great spirit.
Susan Flannery.
A teacher.
Hunter Tylo.
Gorgeous and complex.
Brandon Beamer.
Also gorgeous. And a great guy.
Sean Kanan.
Very talented.
Devin DeVasquez.
Love of my life. A teacher for me.
Jacqueline McInnes Wood.
A wonderful, positive spirit.
Texas Battle.
Texas smells great. Smells great.
Christophe St. John, our brother.
Miss him dearly. Christophe was a true spirit, a true heart, and we miss him a lot.
Brad Bell.
Brad Bell took over the reins of a big thing, and I think overall Brad has done very well. I can't narrow him down to one word. I can't narrow pretty much anybody down to one word. He's taken over a big job, and overall I think he's done well. We all make mistakes along the way, and I think I was maybe part of that mistake thing that happened, but I give him kudos for what he's done.
Scott Clifton.
I don't know Scott that well. He seems like a great guy, but I don't know him that well.
Don Diamont.
Also don't know Don that well.
Okay.
People that I didn't really have a chance to, because they came in kind of at the end of my thing.
Heather Tom.
Heather always seemed very sweet. Very, very sweet. Good actress.
So right now, guys, we're going to take a few questions, and then I'm going to let Ron go. I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight on Hot Topics, CELEBTV.com for the Ron Moss story. If you guys have a question that you want to ask, you can send in a request and drop the question below in the comments, and I will send you a request to come in and ask Ron the question live. So if you want to send in a request, send it in now, or I will send a random invite to see who's on here, and you just got to click accept. So hold on. Let's see here.
Hey, Brian. I see Brian listed there.
Okay.
And Olivia.
Brian, I'm sending you a request, man. You can come in here and ask Ron a question directly. You just got to click accept.
And what do you think?
Hey, Ron Moss, how you doing?
Hello, my
There.
friend. How you doing?
Happy Father's Day.
Say what?
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very
So,
much.
Brian, where are you from? Where are you from, brother?
I'm from Massachusetts, and just wanted to see how Ron is doing and if he misses going out doing his music on tour. I've been watching him perform with Chris and Maruso and Hazel the Donkey. pretty incredible.
We've been playing with an ass, so to speak. Yes. No, that's been fun. That's been fun. Yes, Brian, I do miss going out and playing live. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, we'll be able to have the opportunity to go back to Europe and play some more.
I'm glad that you are having the opportunity of continuing playing your music with Chris, and it's a good opportunity to keep yourself fresh and going.
It's been good, and for you guys who maybe don't know Brian, some of you do. Brian has been amazing in his quest to get more fit in his health, and as always, Brian, I give you so many kudos for achieving.
Thank you.
He has lost a massive amount of weight. He works out now, and he's. I'm just blown away at your diligence and how you've kept with it for the last few years. So all kudos to you.
Thank you. I started Nutrisystem last September, and I've lost about 50 pounds so far on that program, and I'm still on it.
It's amazing, man.
Doing well.
Thank you.
Get up, Brian.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Nice talk with you guys.
Peace.
You
Take
too.
care.
All right. Thank you.
We'll take the next caller in here, guys. Hold on.
This is cool the way you can have the screen.
It is cool.
Divided like
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, you just got to hang up, man.
Okay.
Oh,
You got to hang up. Just fucking let somebody else in here.
All right.
bye-bye, Brian.
All right.
That's funny.
Oh, I don't know how to hang up.
Just close out, man. All you do is just close out.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Hello, Melanie. Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, Jessica, I'm sending you a request if you want to hop in here. What's up? What's up? What's your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Oh,
Hello,
I love the
Jessica.
land under. The land under. What's your question for Ron?
My question for Ron is, what does he get personally out of managing his Instagram? I think you do such a great job, and you're so personable, and you can tell that everything that you post is from you and from the heart. And so what do you get out of it by connecting with your fans on Instagram?
It's a way to do just what you said, to connect with people that I have had kind of a relationship for many, many years. And it's fun because it gives instant feedback. You get instant feedback, and it's like yes, you're friends on a social media, but it's that instant sort of rapport of finding out if they like what you're doing or if they don't like it. And I do like it as much as I might complain about social media. It actually has a purpose of that instant connection with people, and I do like it. And Instagram seems to be the lesser evil of all of them to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like that connection. But thank you for the compliment. I'm glad that we have that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I saw you in Sydney about 2 years ago, and it was a great show. And yeah, I just love your music and the positivity that you give out. So
Thank you.
thank
You
you.
very much for that. It means a lot, because when we would do Bold and Beautiful, we would just do it for the cameras.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I would go to Australia and be able to see you personally that I knew, okay, somebody's actually watching and somebody's actually listening to the music. And it
Yeah.
makes a huge difference, because that's really why we're doing it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's great, and we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, hon.
I
Take care.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, don't forget, you can check us out, of course, if you missed this podcast and this show for the Ron Moss Story and you want to watch other episodes with other stars. You can also hit the subscribe button in the link in the bio here. Go to HotTopicCelebTV.com. Also go to DTeflon.com and subscribe on both websites so you never miss an episode. Also, you can check us out, of course, each and every Sunday here on Sunday Service. I'm going to take another caller. Hi there.
Hi, Ron.
What's your name and where are you
Hello.
from, sweetheart? What's your name and where are you from?
And I'm from Virginia. And I would love to find out, what is so much of your interest with Italy? I'm Italian, and I just want to know how much you want to perform there and how much you want to continue going there, and what your reasons and what part of Italy you really love.
And before you continue, can I say you have great hair?
Thank you.
You have great hair. Yeah.
Italian. Thanks.
Go on.
Being in Italy has always been a true pleasure, not just for the food. Yes, that's everybody's standard answer. But the Italians are very warm people. They're very passionate people. And where I would go to Rome mostly in the beginning. For many, many, many years, I would go to Rome, sometimes Milano. That was my place to go. Now I'm very attracted to the south, the southern Puglia. The Puglia region is amazing, and we've pretty much set up our home base there. It's where most of the olive oil in the world comes from, this particular region. And the wine, of course, is amazing as well.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
but I would say the Italians are just wonderful people, and they have a real passion for life.
Yeah.
They never give up their passion for life, no matter what stuff they have to jump over, hurdles they have to get over. They always hold on to their passion for life.
Good people. My dad's
They
from
are.
Calabria, South.
Calabria, yeah.
Calabresian. Yeah. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
nice
We
father.
actually just finished a movie that we shot last year in Puglia, and we're finishing the editing of it. It's called Surprise Trip.
Wonderful.
Viaggio a sorpresa.
Wonderful.
And we're finishing that up, and it's very much a kind of a story of Puglia and
Yeah.
American going there. So I'm looking forward to having everybody see that sometime soon.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, hon. Bye.
Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Bye-bye, Bella.
Okay, guys, we'll take 3 more questions and then that's it. Let me see.
You're doing well, D, with this technical stuff.
It took me a while to get used to this thing. Hold on. Oh shit! Hold on.
That's never good. You never want to hear a doctor say that. Oh, shit.
Okay.
Please tell us about actress Joanna Johnson. Joanna is wonderful. Joanna, I haven't seen her in so long. I miss seeing her.
Another caller.
Tiffany has a
Hi.
question.
Hi, what's your
Hello.
name and where are you from, hon?
Hi, I'm Stephanie from Kansas.
Nice to meet
Hello,
you.
Stephanie.
Hi. This is so
What's
Welcome.
your
awesome.
question? What's your question for
So,
Ron?
I guess it's not really much of a question. It's more of a, hey, just awesome to like totally meet you, and I love your like inspiration and your hope and your like positivity. Yes. So, and I've like grown up watching Bold and the Beautiful with like my grandma, so like that's kind of special to me.
Very
So,
cool. Very cool. I appreciate you saying that.
What
It
is it like,
means
Ron, for you in the sense, number one, obviously with that question, like, of being able to reach generation to generation? Because obviously you hear obviously people who follow daytime, they used to watch it with their grandmother, they used to watch it with their mother, they used to watch it with, their aunts. What is that like for you when you meet fans like this fan?
I
You know,
am Stephanie, and anybody that tells me she watched it with her mom or her grandma, I just feel blessed. I feel blessed that what we have done, I am specifically with Bold and Beautiful, transcended many generations and people stuck with it. I would hear that because the grandmother watched the show, then the mother had to watch the show, and then the daughter or the son had to watch the show. And I sometimes kid with them and go, I'm sorry, your grandmother forced you to have to watch this show. But it all works out. But I feel blessed that it's transcended several generations like that. So Stephanie, thank you for being there and appreciating it. That's a big reason why we did it.
yes, well,
thank you,
thank you.
Stefan.
I really enjoy it. So,
It was a
and God bless you
reason.
both.
It was a reason that I stayed for 25 years doing that
Yeah,
because
I told my mom, I was like, dude, he's always gonna be Ridge to me, no matter what. So, yep.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Take care. Love you too.
Love you too,
Bye.
Stephanie.
Okay. Last two questions, guys.
How do I end?
You just got to hang up and slide up. Just
Oh,
disconnect out of the live.
okay. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye. It's cute.
Okay, hold on.
Slancaster says, I got my mom watching back then. It's funny. What are your feelings about everyone having fresh water?
Hey,
I think it's necessity.
I can't see you. What's your name and where you're from? But you got to bring your face into the screen.
Bring your lovely face in there.
There you are.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
What's your name?
Yes.
Where are you from? Having really bad
Melanie.
connection. Melanie, where are you from,
Hello,
Melanie?
Melanie.
Melanie, I'm from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Very cool.
Hello,
What's
everyone.
what's your
Hello.
question?
Massachusetts, north of Boston. Ron, I've been following you for years on Bold and the Beautiful. Plus, I grew up in RSO Records in Los Angeles.
Wow. Okay.
So I remember watching you perform for many, many years, and you are wise beyond your years. You're an incredible human being, and I have so much respect for you, and your
Thank you,
wisdom
Melanie.
is just incredible. It's been an
I
honor
appreciate that.
to listen to you. Oh God, it's been an honor to listen to you this evening, and I can't wait to see you perform live.
I can't wait to get back to performing music live, and I thank you for your
And
kind
you
words. That's very,
will.
very sweet.
And you will, and I just cannot wait. Thank you so much for speaking to us tonight. And like I said, I've been following you for years, and God bless you and your beautiful wife. God bless you.
Thank you, Melanie, and keep the
Sorry about our
positivity.
connection.
Yeah.
Keep the
Thank you, Melanie.
positivity.
Exactly. Thank
Thank you.
you too, and bless you both. Bless you both,
Bless you
and
Same to
as
you.
hope
well.
to see you again.
Thank you,
Okay.
Melanie.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye-bye now.
Bless.
Last two guys here. Last two.
So cute. So cute. Very nice.
You just got to hang up, hon. You just got to swipe out.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Trabajo negro no es ilegal. No,
Melanie, you're still connected. You got to swipe out. Just hang up. Disconnect from the live.
pero es un trabajo negro.
What is going on here?
I think she has a slow connection, so it's slow to
No,
let go.
Melanie, you just got to close out. Just close out of the app.
Entré.
Melanie, you're still connected in the app. You just got to close out of the app.
Estoy.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name and where are you from?
Uruguay.
Who?
Uruguay.
Oh,
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Wow.
What's your name?
Rosana.
Nice to
Ciao.
meet you,
Hello,
Rosanna.
Rosanna.
Here in Uruguay, we watch you too.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
It's obviously nighttime there, right?
Yes. And I'm driving right now.
Oh,
Well,
I can
not
see.
right.
What's your question, hon?
I want to know the best moment of your life.
The best moment of my life, I've had several. I would have to say
The most.
the birth of our two girls, and meeting Devin. It changed everything for me. That's very personal.
It has been a pleasure to see you those many years.
Yes,
Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you, hon.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Rosanna. Make
Bye-bye.
sure you drive carefully.
It's my
Hey,
husband.
last.
Okay. Well, tell
Last
him to
question,
drive
though.
carefully.
All right, hon. Just swipe out.
I wish I knew how to.
Just close the app. That's it. Just close right out of the app.
Okay.
I think you just swipe
Bye-bye.
up. Bye-bye, Rosanna.
Okay.
There we
Last
go.
question, guys. Thank you, Ron, for being so patient tonight, man. I've actually gone longer than I would, but I enjoyed this conversation, and it's good to catch up with you, man. Hold on.
All of you have an amazing Father's Day as well. We'll say that again to everybody.
Okay. Actually, got one more in the queue, and then that's it. Let's see if this caller comes on.
Coming in. Happy Father's Day.
Okay, I'll try the next person.
Devin says, I'm patiently waiting for wine, aren't we all? It's funny. Let him go get some wine with Devin. That's funny.
I wanted some wine with Devin and you guys, man, right now, man.
Funny.
Hold on. Okay, you know what?
Love you back.
I'm going to.
Yes, everybody, please be safe.
Come on, Devin. I was trying to connect you.
Olivia put all the wine glasses up. That's funny.
Hey,
There
hello.
she is.
There you
Hello.
are. Hello, pretty lady.
Hello.
Hello, my love.
I didn't intend to be on camera right
Well,
now.
we're glad you're on
I've
camera.
been
I haven't seen you in so long.
I've been reading my book and I'm like really enjoying the solitude of reading. And I wanted my husband to bring me up a glass of wine.
Well, he's here conducting business. So I figured, you know what? I might as well bring him to the room to you. So, how have you been, man? I've missed you.
I've been good. I've just been enjoying relaxation because our kids are here and they're cooking for Father's Day and they're both really good cooks. So I don't have to cook.
So you got a day off. You could just chill.
The girls are in the kitchen cooking up a storm right now, so
Yeah.
we're going to go celebrate Father's Day with them. That's why they're here.
Are your kids, Ron, musicians or actors or inspiring to be?
Not really, no. Kaylee, our youngest, is learning guitar and
Okay.
bass. She's a great singer as well. And Kristen loves growing things. She's wonderful at growing things. They're both great, great spirits and very amazing human beings. I'm very, very proud of them both.
Dee, I wanted to share with everyone
Mm-hmm.
this new amazing book that my friend Dwayne Tuttle just wrote on
Okay.
Prince, and it's on the era that I knew him. It's on the Purple Rain era, on his music from 1985 and 86.
Okay.
And it's amazing. It brought back so many memories. There's a little bit of stuff about me in there, and it's a 700-page Bible, I call it. But I just read this yesterday, and now I'm reading Samantha Bennington, which was the ex-wife of Chester Bennington's book. And so
Okay.
both of these, we met her and she signed this book, and I promised to read it. So I've been catching up on reading. That's what I've been doing this past weekend. So have my glasses on so I can see what you guys are saying here. So,
Somebody asked how old our girls are, so I tried to put a paper up. It
but I
doesn't
want to
work
get
because
back
it's
to my
behind.
reading now.
But
You get back to your reading.
before you go, Devin, I wanted to also get your thoughts because, as you know, it's coming up soon to Christoph's birthday, and I'm planning to do a very special tribute with all our close friends. And while I have you both on here, I want first Ron to go and then you to go in your own words what Christoph meant to you.
Christoph, you want Devin to go first?
Either one. You Devin, go first if you like.
Go ahead, hon.
I didn't know Christoph very well. I only met him a couple of times, but one of my really good friends that you know, Dee, Roxana, knew him, and I felt his energy and his spirit was very genuine, and I wished I had known him better. I mean, like you guys did, but he just seemed like a really beautiful spirit.
It was. And Ron, you?
He was beyond the beautiful spirit. Christoph was a true-hearted guy who everybody that came in contact with him loved him and could feel his great energy. And we were all still reeling from that. I don't know why things happen the way they do. It's part of life, I guess. But Christoph will live inside of all of us who knew him forever. And we carry him. I feel him. I feel him still.
For both of you, you guys have had both such incredible careers in both of what you do. If you both were to I guess you would say, leave behind a few words for what your legacy is, what would those words be, lasting, that you would want to be remembered by?
Look,
Devin, you can go first.
Go ahead, Jan.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying words or a sentence?
Whatever comes to your prowess of vocabulary.
I think I would want to be remembered for inspiring people to be better today than they were yesterday, and manifesting their dreams and making them come true.
And I asked Ron the question, Devin, earlier on, the fundamentals of what has made your love story between you two such a beautiful thing to watch. What would you say for you has been the key element of why you guys have been able to make your love story work in the way that it does? Because I mean, honestly, I think, and I can attest to this, I think any man out here probably watching this can attest that we all need a woman like Devin in our lives. Because truly, honestly, like it's very rare that I see somebody, especially in this era, who is so supportive and so a real partner in life of being able to, good, bad, ugly, stand by her man, support her man, push her man, and to me, I mean, for me, I want those tips in the sense of like, how you guys make it work.
Well, you have
What do
to
you feel for you?
you have to support each other, and you have to lift each other up, and you have to be there for each other. You have to be partners. You have to bring out the best in each other. You can't be jealous or competitive. And believe it or not, there are spouses and husbands who are jealous or competitive, and that doesn't work, That's
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the reason why some of my relationships didn't work. It's part of the reason why Ron's relationships didn't work. I don't put so much emphasis on the physical. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to look good but no one can live up to that image. I don't care who you are. No one can live up to being glamorous and looking great all the time. You have your good days and your bad days, and some days you just want to be funky, like Ron said. You just don't care about. I'm almost 60 years old. I really don't care so much about the physical. I care more about the mental and the spiritual. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that's way more important, that you elevate, because we're three-part beings. I write about a lot of this stuff. I personally feel that you have to expand your thinking and expand your being, physically, mentally, spiritually. So it's so too much is placed on the physical. And it's great to look good, and you can look good at any age, and age is just a number. I really truly feel that way. But
Mm-hmm.
I think our society puts too much on the physical and
Mm-hmm.
not enough on the mental and the spiritual.
Do you feel social media has a big part to do with that?
Yes, I think that's why, yeah, because a lot of our younger people feel like they have to live up to, say, the Kardashians, for example. I don't think the Kardashians live up to the Kardashians. I mean, they have to, it's a lot of work to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, if we want to do the hair and the makeup and have 3 pounds of makeup on, and fake lashes and fake hair and the clothes and all of that stuff, and you want to play that role 24/7, then you can do that. If you want to be a real person, it takes a lot of courage inside and out to do that. And it sort of irritates me, no matter what Ron does, if he has gray hair, or if he colors his hair, if he shaves his beard or grows it or doesn't grow it, if I change my hair color, or I do. People are, everybody has an opinion. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's your opinion. That's what you think. That's, you people, you can't please everyone. So it's like that song. You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself, right? So
And I asked this question before, obviously for you both being actors as well. A couple of weeks ago when I had Sarah on, where in our business, there's, as you said, this focus on vanity, and in daytime, you see these actors who start off when they're 20, and they're still on the shows when they're 70 in daytime. Where in prime time, a woman doing past the age of 30 is considered old. And do you feel that like there is a, obviously a stereotype that like where men can be old and be veteran and be respected when they get older in the business, but women have to feel like they're on this time limit, like they've got to do a whole lot of things in a short period of time. And even for you, like as a model, did you feel that transition change or feel any like discrimination in regards to that?
Dee, we can talk for another hour about all of this. Seriously, this interview's about.
We'll have to have you on then next.
Not
we can talk about it.
I really, honestly, I had a long career as a model. I can go into that if we have at another time and place, but
Please.
many many things have changed. Okay, so I'm just gonna say good night. You guys have been talking a long time. I
know we went longer than, but I'm gonna let Ron go because I know you guys. It's gotta let you. I'm gonna let you come back to him.
Dee, notice she said we've been talking a long time.
Yes.
We have been. But you know what? It's been good to catch up, man.
I don't want to hear about you guys telling me I talk too much. Okay, you guys can talk. All right,
Listen, it's I don't believe it because I'm both like Ron. I'm not a person that likes to communicate, but if I'm having good conversation with somebody, and it's very, as you know, like Ron said, in the beginning about bullshit. There's very few people that have the intellectual mindset like Ron or myself to be able to engage in a conversation and talk real shit. Like
but you're cramming decades of accomplishments into a podcast.
Yeah, but it's his story. It's his story. That's the reason why we do this. It's not your typical podcast. It's not your typical. It's a way for people out there who are because again, Ron inspires so many people. And that's where I want to tell real stories.
Sweet, that's very sweet. But his daughters are very important to him.
Of course,
and they drove 5 hours to come and spend Father's Day with him.
Well, then I'm gonna leave you on that note. Okay. So Ron, for the boss lady puts me in trouble here. For the boss lady puts you in trouble. Thank you, Devin.
I think she said it all there.
So Ron, before you go, I let you go.
I get out of here though.
Just swipe out. Just hang up out of the app.
Oh, how do you do that?
Just close the app.
Swipe
just
up.
Close Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Swipe it up. Bye, love.
There you go. So Ron, I want to thank you, Ron. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Dee, I want to thank you as well. I
love you, man. Before you go, I just want you to give a quick plug, basically saying, hi, I'm Ron Moss. You can find me right here on HotTopicsCelebTV.com. And then say it again. Hi, I'm Ron Moss from Player. You can find me right here on DTeflon.com. So I'll count you down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, I'm Ron Moss, and you can find me here on HotTopicCelebrity.com.
No, CelebTV.com.
Celeb TV.
So we'll do it one more time. HotTopicsCelebTV.com and then DTeflon.com.
This is too much to remember.
HotTopicsCelebTV.com.
Got it.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, I'm Ron Moss, and you can find me here on HotTopicsCelebTV.com.
And then do it again one more time and just say you can find me right here on DTeflon.com.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, I'm Ron Moss, and you can find me right here on DTeflon.com, and we're loving every moment of it.
Thank you, my brother. I thank you
Dee.
so much for taking your time. I appreciate you. I hope I didn't keep you for too much from your kids. I enjoy you spending our day with us, and I hope to see you soon where we're not social distancing and wearing masks and any of that shit, and have a drink of that wine.
We're going to do that right now with the wine and give up the social distancing and all. Just get out and enjoy our lives. That's the way we should do it.
Any last thing you want to say to your fans before we let you go?
Just, I really appreciate all of you, and thank you guys so much for being here with us, and thank you for being so supportive all these years. I am very much in gratitude, and I feel completely blessed to have all you guys in our lives.
Thank you, man. I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, find us on HotTopicCelebTV.com. You can find me at DTeflon. Ron, tell people where they can find you on social media.
RonnMoss.com. We've got the Instagram /Ron Moss as well, Ron with 2 N's. And yeah, come and join us and see what we're doing, and hope you enjoy it.
All right, brother.
Sending love and blessings to you, D, and thank you so much.
No problem, man. Go enjoy your dinner.
Bye.
Love you.